Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Is everybody ready to go? Looks like it. Okay. I'd like to call this August 11th meeting of the Northfield Township Board to order. Please stand for the invocation and pledge, and Ms. Otto is going to do it.
Sorry, I'm trying to mucky with my, okay. God, in our hearts, we plan our course, but we pray that you establish our steps. I pray that we seek your advice. Let us not make decisions based upon what we know, but let us act upon your wisdom. Please guide us, Lord. We place this meeting in your hands. We place our hearts and our minds in your hands as you may direct us. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of
the United States of America and to the
republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call the roll, Clerk Manley.
Hello.
Hello.
Beliger.
Here.
Dockett. Here. Otto.
Here.
Check.
Here.
Zelenock.
Present.
Manley here. Chockley.
Okay. Is that everybody? I guess we're all here. All right.
We're all here.
Thank you. Now we have an opportunity for call to the public. So anyone who would like to speak to us at this time, please raise your hand virtually, and I'll call on you and unmute you. And you have 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name and your address, and we'll look forward to hearing from you. Okay, Mr. Stewart. Jennifer, it's not letting me on. Okay. There we go. Mr. Stewart, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Scott Stewart,
Mr. Stewart?
9075 Kearney Road, or Kearney Road.
Can you turn the volume up?
Volume up.
I can hear him fine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I just wanted to say hello to everyone and thank you for your time. Been recently active on an app that I've crossed paths with here in the last year called Nextdoor. It's an option over Facebook. It's an alternative. Seems to be some individuals from our community that are there at Nextdoor, and they're active, and there's conversation going on. It's kind of a cool app. I encourage everybody to join that app. That's Nextdoor app.
Mm-hmm.
On that app, I started a group called Friends of the Perimeter Trail, and it's a location for people to discuss the perimeter trail, the park, or anything else going on recreationally in our township. Moving away from that, I wanted to same subject, but communities such as Lapeer, Michigan, Novi, Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan, they have what I consider to be a trail network, where they have like a park that's connected to another park, and you have trails at each of them. And when I see our Barker Road route, and now that we have Lemon Road connecting us to M36, I see that opportunity here, and I see minimal effort needed to do it. I see revenue from it. I personally am just an individual. I'm not affiliated with anyone. I've spent a lot of time researching this, and so I'm hoping that the officials on our township board that are elected, our manager, especially those that are running for election this November, that maybe we don't know much about their history and what their intention might be for the Lakeshore Park. I'm hoping that they invest in time, that everybody as a community, that we invest time and effort and determine if a network in our community is something that we want to do, if it's something we can benefit from. Maybe it's not a good idea, but to spend a little bit of time and rule it out, I think that's worthwhile before we move forward with anything else, because there's only one opportunity to build a trail network, and that's before anything else is built. I finally have gotten in contact with the trail builder. He's working on the Lapeer project, and so mid-September he's going to stop by our community, and I'm going to show him what I think, and he's going to show me what he thinks. This is what he does: community trails, teaching the community, embrace it, providing revenue, and so forth. So I think that's my 3 minutes right there. So thank you once again for 3 minutes. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay.
No problem.
Okay, Mr. Gordon, your turn. Thank you.
Great. David Gordon, Helena Road. Hello, everyone. I thought what Scott just had to say was excellent. It dovetails into what I was going to say. Trails are part of, enjoying the outdoors and the lovely nature that we have in our community. We just finished with the primary election, and I was very relieved, and with the results, there were not that many surprises, certainly with the candidates that were running. What was, I think, surprising and very exciting is that the conservation millage put forward by the county was a renewal of something that had been done 10 years ago. When this was brought to our township 10 years ago, it failed. It was just about a 50-50 vote with a 50.5% against and 49.5% in favor. This year, 64% of our residents said yes to conservation. That's 2 out of 3 practically, which is a huge shift from 10 years ago. And it, I think, reflects the efforts that have been made by this board in forming a land preservation committee and efforts of the land preservation committee, and just a general trend within our society to value what we have as opposed to what we think we want. The grass is always greener concept is giving way to maybe being grateful for what it is that we have in our community. And what we have here in Northfield Township is quite the gem, the lake and the rural area surrounding it. And if we could capitalize on conserving them and preserving them, we would be become more and more of a valuable oasis amongst the growth taking place both to the north and the south of us. So I just wanted to thank the residents for voting 64% in favor of the conservation millage. It was almost as high as what our voters did for the police, which was 68%. So obviously, conservation is a very, very popular concept in Northfield Township. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, do we have anyone else who would like to speak at this time in the attendees? Mr. Olney, go ahead.
Yes, Adam Olney, Whitmore Lake resident, 9315 Lakewood Court. Also candidate for the Board of Trustees in the November election after moving on through the uncontested Democratic primary. So just to add on to, I believe it was Scott who first spoke about paths and trailways being connected. The candidate for supervisor, Mr. Ken Dignan, has recently posted about this and kind of got it mapped out. And I'm fully on board. I know the township has had like a walkability plan in the past. Hopefully that could come forward if, not with this board, with the next board. So I think it's a great idea, finding some grants or some funding for that to make our community more walkable. There's a lawsuit on the agenda tonight on the manager's report. I would hope that the board doesn't drag this out. You take the advice of the attorney, but if the township's going to end up paying more in legal fees than what the actual lawsuit is asking for, it just doesn't make sense. Don't let this drag out. Like, these people bought this house, it was in great shape, and due to the non-maintenance of the sewer line, now the board is making them sue the township. They don't want to sue the township. They just want the money that they put in to recover. So On the last meeting, it got canceled due to no password being available. Big mess up on whoever's part, whatever it is. Just some things from that. And that packet for the meeting 2 weeks ago, I mentioned there was something about a millage. The township lawyer was talking with the manager about a millage. No idea what that is still. And that there was also some billing for a referendum information. I believe the referendum deadline is passed, so I don't think there will be a referendum this November, whatever that was for. And I'd just like to thank Marta Larson for hosting the Meet the Candidates. I think it was successful, and those who showed up, I think, showed up on the ballots on the primary. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have anyone else who would like to speak at this time? Please raise your hand. Okay, President is allowing you to speak. Ugh. It's not working. Okay, no.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. The button was popping up, and I think we were canceling each other out. Sorry about that.
Probably.
Marissa Prisjan, 32 Shrum Drive. I just wanted to say that thank you to Clerk Manley and to her staff at the elections this year. I know that it had its own unique challenges, so I was glad to see that everything went smoothly up there. And I also just wanted to recommend to the board, as you're looking forward and kind of tying things up at the end of your term, that maybe you could consider ironing out some sort of process about communication between the committees and the board, as far as if we need website changes or if we need to manage a social media account. I know that I had sent an email, and I know that some of you are working on a response for that. I hope that it's something you can talk about in the future. But mostly, I think that it's a great idea that those things are in black and white for all of the committees, so that we know the processes, the most preferred ways to communicate with the board, and that everybody's on the same page moving forward. Processes are always great to have. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Okay. We have someone, NM. Well.
Yep, there we go. Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you.
This is Nate Moko. I just want to say thank you to everybody who voted for me. And I look forward to going to Marta's Meet the Candidate night in September. And that's really about all I got tonight. Thank you for all you guys do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay. Going once? Going twice? Going 3 times? Okay. Thank you all for your speaking to us at the call to the public here. Board members, now is an opportunity to respond to call to the public. Ms. Chick has her hand up. Go ahead, Ms. Chick.
I wanted to speak to Mr. Stewart and to Madam Olney. For as long as I've been working with the township for 16 years, we've been talking about connecting trails to the surrounding communities around us, and we've never had the opportunity to actually move forward with it. But as they're moving closer to us, it seems a little bit easier now for us to be able to connect. There's a cost involved, and we have to look into that with grants, but it's always been a plan. It's always been on the radar. I think it would be a wonderful asset for the township to bring people in, either hiking, biking, or walking into the community, put a trailhead downtown. We do have a plan for a trail around the perimeter of the North Village property that will exit out onto Barker. So yeah, it is a priority. Well, it's a priority that we haven't been able to obtain yet, but we've always wanted to do that. So I want to thank them for their comments and appreciate that interest, and any information we can get or help we can get to do that would be most helpful. Thank you.
Marlene, I think you're muted.
I'm unmuted now. Any other board members? 'Cause I have some comments okay. I just want to mention that I have personally met with MDOT and SEMCOG, and I know these are all, Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, Michigan Department of Transportation. Our planner has met, and we were talking about extending the bike trail from that MDOT lot at 8 Mile down into downtown Whitmore Lake. And the hope is that with the North Village, there might be an opportunity there to get some matching funds to actually do that trail. So it's been out there, it's been talked about, and hopefully the next board will be able to accomplish that. But there are transportation alternative funds available, and hopefully we can capture some of that into the future. As far as connecting bike trails, hopefully we'll be able to get a Parks and Rec master plan completed so that then we would be able to access funds from the state to do some of these things down into the park area. So we do need to update our Parks and Rec master plan. So please keep vigilant for when the announcements go out for that, because I'm sure that will be happening in the next, at least early in the next year, because if we're going to do something, the deadline is April 1st to get grant proposals into the state. Otherwise, it'll get pushed off another year. So those are a couple things. As far as the millage goes that Mr. Olney mentioned, it was a discussion of the police millage, and we needed to get the wording correct on the ballot, and that's where that came from. And the mention of the referendum, that was another item where we needed some guidance from the attorney, and that related back to the last time when we had all the brouhaha about the board potentially doing something inappropriate, and that was not the case at that time. And it is this board that determines the language for anything that goes onto the ballot. So there was nothing untoward back then, and there was nothing untoward this time. So I just wanted to make that clear. And anyway, let's see, we have Miss Beliger. Go ahead, Miss Beliger. Oh, I unmuted. I'll let the board members unmute themselves. Thank you.
We're on now?
Yes, you are.
Okay. I just want to express the high points of my run for supervisor. I was successful in precinct 2. Wasn't enough, but it was a good fun out here, and met a lot of wonderful people. By far the most rewarding aspect of the campaign, as I'm sure the rest of the candidates would agree, was talking to the truly wonderful people of the township. Whether it was knocking on doors and greeting them at the polls on election day, with very few exceptions, I was received with polite, smiling comments. And people were supportive that I met, were very, very supportive of my efforts and the platform. I want to congratulate Ken Dignan and LJ Walters on winning their primary elections. Whomever wins the race in November, I pray that God gives them the guidance to help this township and the people into a prosperous and healthy future. A couple points I do want to mention while campaigning. I talked to people out in the field and, asking what's their concerns, what's going on, what's on their mind, if anything. And, a lot of people didn't have much to say, but quite a few did as well. High taxes were repeated comment that I heard about the taxes. There were definitely people concerned about marijuana, whether it being too many stores in town or where it was going to be or what places were going to be the businesses and if it was going to be affecting the rural and so forth. So there's various questions on that of all different types. Of course, roads is a repeating concern by many. Also, there was more than I expected, some people talking about issues with the building and zoning, like if they wanted to put something on their property or do some work with their house and so forth. Also, there was people very concerned about keeping the rural area rural and keeping that charm, and also addressing the blight in Whitmore Lake, seeing storefronts in healthier condition, or basically Whitmore Lake area downtown there, looking to be, better kept and well kept. Another topic people brought up was some home development near the schools. So those are the main information that I got from people out there in the public when I talk to voters and so forth. Again, I want to congratulate both Ken and LJ and all the other candidates that made it through the primary. Thank you so very much for running and for taking concern in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other board members? Ms. Zelenock, go ahead.
So I'd like to thank the voters for coming out and voting, and I'd like to thank them for their support of myself and my candidacy. I would, trails are very important. I took the Lakeland Trail over the weekend. It's very nice. Going over the roundabout at 8 miles is a little challenging, to say the least, but I made it. I'm still here today to talk about it, but it is a very nice trail, and I do support having the trails connecting in our township. I think it would be good for just activity. I think it would be good to bring people here to our township to come downtown as well. So it was very good. I'd like to thank Mr. Stewart for his dedication and passion about the perimeter trail. I know it's near and dear to his heart, and he shows it. And I've walked it a few times, so that's very good. And I think that might be it. Let me see here. I think I have one more. Yeah, that's it, I think. But yes, I think trails, and I look forward to trying to get some grants and doing what we can to connect that trail into our downtown area. I won't say an avid bike rider. I'm a novice bike rider, but I do like riding my bike, and it was a very nice trail. So I'd highly recommend people either walk it. I even told my husband about it, and he walked down to Zuki Lake today. He said round trip is about 10 miles from the MDOT lot. So it's very nice. So I'd highly encourage. And I would like to thank all the volunteers that worked at the election, as well as the clerk department. It seemed to go very well. So I thank everyone for all their efforts. Okay. And it's always a joy. That's the best thing about our community, is the people that we get to meet along our paths. It makes the traveling sweet. It's all the people we get to meet. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dockett, did you have anything you'd like to speak about at this point? Mr. Dockett?
Yes.
Did you have anything you wanted to share at this time of the agenda?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Manley?
Yeah, I have a question. Again, thanks everybody for the election. Went very well. All the election workers, thank you. It was a great, run. Everything went smoothly, as well as could be expected. I guess I have a question for the board, or Mr. Wagner or Steve. Does anybody know what's going on at 7 and Earhart with them dumping? My family's outside and they can still. Tawn, I know that's right by you. I didn't know if you knew anything.
I actually put a call in today because I wasn't sure what's going on, but I'm told it's supposed to be a, through the grapevine, I heard it's like a farm of sorts, kind of like a sanctuary for injured ducks or injured birds or something.
They're still dumping gravel or something.
They're moving an awful lot of dirt into there, and I don't know. I know there's a pond back there, and I know the area's got some wetlands to it because right next to it, the new house that went in.
Okay.
Got some springs and whatnot and ponds.
Okay.
If Mr. Aynes, if you could look into that tomorrow, that'd be great. Because if they're filling in something they shouldn't be filling in, they've been dumping all day. They can still hear them dumping.
It's the southwest corner of 7 and Earhart.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they're actually getting ready to build a house there. It is a little bit of a low area. I approved an address and I approved a driveway there within the last 2 months.
Okay.
And it's not connected to that new house off of Earhart Road, though. That's actually a separate property. But I believe they're getting ready to build a new house there.
All right. Thanks. I was just getting worried that they were doing something they shouldn't be doing. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Ms. Otto, go ahead.
So I wanted to thank the voters for coming out. I also wanted to thank those in all 3 of the precincts. I was deeply moved by the expression of confidence. And and it was very appreciative by the votes. I wanted to do a special thanks to those who work the polls. Elections can be very time consuming, and it is the bedrock of our democracy. So I wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to the consent agenda. And I would like to make a motion to adopt the consent agenda as distributed, including the check disbursement report for the paid bills.
There's a couple things I want to pull.
Okay, which ones?
Number 4, 7, and 8.
4, I mean, is this, well, I'm sure it's just quick questions, right? 4,
Yeah, that ought to be fairly quick.
7, and 8. Okay, the check disbursement report. Okay. Anybody else have anything, Ms. Chick?
I don't know if I want to pull it or not. I have a quick question about the manager's report, that's all.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, since let's go in order with the manager's report then. And what questions do you have, Ms. Chick?
On the North Village update, the board had directed an appraisal be conducted to determine the value of the property for special development. This has been provided to the board members. This is currently being reviewed, but why is it not in our packet?
Well, I had just gotten it. I wanted the board to see it. I want to talk to the potential developer about it too, but it is a public document. Just we're trying to keep down the volume of the document. It's in the packet, and it wasn't an item for discussion on the agenda tonight.
Okay, I'm sure that people reading the manager's report is going to wonder, what the appraisal came back at.
Well, we can post it on the website tomorrow. It's about 200 pages, I believe. So that's why we're trying to hold off till we actually discussed it with you.
I don't know if they're looking for the whole thing as much as they're looking to see what the value of the property is.
Mm-hmm.
I can explain a little bit about it if you'd like a brief summary.
Can we do that at the next meeting when we actually deal with it? Okay.
I had the same question as well as I think we just need the summary page.
Right.
And then
Yes.
we don't need the full 200 pages. I think in the next report, it would be good to have a summary page of the value and how it was split up.
Okay.
Okay.
So I could just say that it's, with us keeping the business parcels, it's about 700,000. That's what he was estimating with keeping the park and keeping the business parcels.
And if
but I'll get you more information.
Yeah, because I recall that it was I think he said we would keep 4 acres.
Well, he said 4, but what he came up with is it's roughly 50,000 acres. So if you keep 5, then that lowers the price by that amount potentially. But the way the offer was from the developer, it was not based on a per acre basis. So that's part of the discussion the attorney and I and the planner are going to have with him.
Okay.
So since we're on North Village, if I may, Madam Chair.
Okay.
So are we accepting any other proposals at this time?
I was expecting to get a letter of interest from Mr. Munger by Monday, but perhaps something got in the way of that. I haven't gotten anything. So I don't know if we'll get anything else. Mr. Aynes, are you aware?
I'm not aware of any others, but when the board had rejected the senior housing project, what you did, you went from request for proposals to request for qualifications, and you said those would be left open until such a time as you entered into an agreement with the developer. So far, you haven't entered into an agreement, so anybody could still submit a proposal.
Okay. Ms. Chick?
Well, wouldn't the proposal go to the planner and Mr. Aynes first?
Oh, the letter of interest?
Yes.
I would think that it would have to get vetted, yes.
Okay.
But the board would want to know that we've received one.
Right.
So I don't have anything to share with the board, and obviously it didn't go to Mr. Aynes either. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll get something additional.
And will Mr. Lippens be at the meeting tonight?
I don't know. I didn't ask him to
Okay.
attend, so.
If I may, I mean, I
Okay.
spoke with him earlier today. He said he was going to attend.
Well, maybe he's waiting until it gets closer to his agenda item.
Right.
Who knows? Okay.
Shall I then go to item number 4?
Is that one, the wastewater treatment plant? Yes. What's your question?
Yeah, my question was on the second page on July 27th. Maybe Dan could answer. He had dynamic drains out to clean out a tap for a new house on East Shore. It says the pipe needs to be replaced. Is this simply just an old pipe, like from way back, the original running of the sewer line, and now this new development wants to happen and the pipe happens to be degraded and so forth? Is this the situation?
Yeah, it was put in the late 60s, early 60s.
Okay.
And it sat there underneath East Shore without being used for all this time. And when they went to hook it up, they hooked it up, but it wasn't, you couldn't get water through it. So we had it cleaned out. We've had it cleaned out twice by 2 different companies. And we're going to have to do something different. We're going to have to put a new line in. Probably directional drill across East Shore to the sewer main.
Okay. Well, thanks, Dan. I was kind of curious if that was the case. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then the other item was, let's see.
Financial reports?
Yeah, financial report.
yeah.
This one is the revenue and expense report. And I'm on page number 6 of the revenue and expense report. In the middle, the Parks and Rec Board was the expenditures for the shed and so forth were expected to happen in the last year's budget. So as you can see, this year's budget is vastly depleted because these items, I know they had an issue with the credit card and so on and so forth. But I'd like to see if that could be refurbished, that budget could be brought back up for this year's Parks and Rec. So I wanted to bring that up because those expenses were intended to be at the prior year, and obviously that did not occur. So it looks like at this point there's just under 300 available for maintenance and small projects. And of course, Parks and Rec, we're expecting to have a 1,500 for the year, minus the minor expenses that have happened this year. So I don't know how to address that or if we can and so forth, but I wanted to bring that to the board's attention. Maybe an adjustment next meeting or even maybe this meeting, I don't know.
Okay. Can we make a note of that, Mr. Aynes?
Yes.
Thank you.
And then the last item is the paid bills. I had a question on. Let's see what this was. I had a question on page 9, I believe it was 9. Yeah, on page 9 of the paid bills, sort of towards the top. Planning commission fee and zoning compliance fees for the community center. I guess at times I've heard that we don't charge our own governmental units. Here it looks like we are charging our own governmental units, so I just wanted to kind of point that out or ask on that.
Yeah.
I've seen both happen. I don't know what the proper way of addressing this is to be.
Mr.
Well, I thought we should go ahead and charge it. The building department fund needs the funds. And it does involve having it evaluated by the planner and going through the process for getting the parking lot approved by the planning commission. So I was just trying to treat us as we treat other people and charge the fee and pay the fee.
So that will be the policy then. I guess we need to have maybe a consistent policy because we didn't for some of the Parks and Rec things. Did
they even apply though? The Parks and Rec for their
Yeah, for the shed, yeah.
Shed did,
Yeah.
you know, so I don't know. It's basically just
I think-
moving it from one line item to another.
I understand.
Yeah. Mr. Aynes, go ahead.
Well, I thought the building at the center was a small, at the garden location was a small building, and it wasn't worth fooling with, basically. It was what we were already going to take care of anyway. So, but I can come back with some sort of policy if that's what the board would desire.
Miss Otto, go ahead.
In regards to having the shed on that property, I thought that we couldn't just have a shed on vacant land. I thought that was the issue back. And that's why it didn't move forward. So I would have to have an understanding of why they're planning to put a shed on that property.
Yeah. Is it already there?
Or has it gone through the planners, that type of thing?
Yeah, I put out an application and it was approved by VDO
Okay.
Okay.
over a year ago, I think, no.
Okay. Because I thought we couldn't put, it's just like you can't put a garage on vacant land unless it's attached, there's a house
Yeah.
adjoining that property. So.
Okay. Miss Zelenock?
I do, I don't have it in front of us, but we did make a motion some time ago, if I recall, and maybe my rest of my board members can help me out, is that we did ask the township manager to come up with a policy about fees to be charged between governmental entities.
Okay.
I do believe we did say that if it was going to an outside entity, that we would pay that.
Okay.
And then adjust it on the back end.
I'm not sure what that means, but.
Well, I mean, to the appropriate departments.
Right. So that's
okay. What it means.
Okay, thank you. So that, so if we have to actually pay McKenna, then we would actually pay that bill because that's an outside vendor. If it was internal, if I recall, then it would not be paid. But I don't have the date we made that motion, but I do recall that we made a motion that the township manager would create a policy on how to deal with government entities.
Okay. I'm going to unmute Mr. Dockett just in case he has something to ask.
Yes,
Go ahead.
I do. It's something that's not in the report that I think I would like to know about how we are doing in the building department. Over the last year, it was costing us $5,000 a month. I would like to see in the manager's report, are we still bleeding $5,000 a month in the building department? Or whoever puts these figures together. If it's not him, who knows?
Okay, Yvette will know, and let's bring that back at a future meeting so we can, since we don't.
Who would know?
Yvette Starbuck would know.
Who would know, did you say?
Yvette Starbuck, our controller.
Okay, so we'll get a report. I'd like to have a report on how we're doing on the building department.
Okie doke.
When could we do that at the next meeting, please?
Okay, Mr. Aynes, you got that?
Yes, I made a note of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and I see Mr. Lippens has joined us, but we're in consent agenda right now. All right, so I made a motion to adopt the consent agenda as distributed. Did I get a second?
Support.
Oh, okay, yes, it was Chockley and Beliger. Any more comments? Oh, Miss Otto.
I had one question in regards to the fund balance report. You're at 130%. Is that because we've had too many, the taxes have come through and we haven't paid out anything?
Okay. Ms. Zelenock, do you know that?
I think we're, as it indicates, there could be subject to change based on the audit.
Okay.
At this point in time, it's our best estimate with all expenses being paid and all revenues being received.
Okay.
There will be some adjustments.
That's quite high, 130%.
Yep, it is. So there will be some adjustments that come in
Okay.
as far as moving it, but at this point in period of time, it is our best estimate without it going through the audit. So yes,
Okay.
it is, but it's pretty comparable to what we have for our 2020 and 2021 budget at 123. So
Yeah.
and that
Okay.
actually had a reduction in our revenue sharing. So I think, I think it's going to come in somewhere around that, but maybe 120. So good job,
Okay.
everyone.
Okay,
Good job.
all right. Are we ready for a roll call on this? Okay, go ahead, Miss Manley.
Chick,
Yes.
Beliger,
Yes.
Dockett.
Hang on.
A question.
Oh,
I have a question.
Okay.
okay.
I have a question.
Okay, go
on
ahead.
the fund balance. How can we go from 67 or 8 to 130? It looks good on paper. But I can't understand how we can have more than 100%.
Ms. Zelenock, explain how fund balance works.
Yeah, so you certainly can if your revenues are more than your expenses. And as I indicated at the last meeting, or the meeting before, because the budget only took into account the expenses and we did not make the revenue adjustments. That is why the budget was so low. And again, I caution that we need to make sure we do both because it's not a good practice. And that was highlighted. So now we're talking about the actuals. And I think it'll be pretty close, but again, we won't know until the audit comes through and the revenue sharing is completed, as well as I know Jennifer, Ms. Carlisle did a lot to make sure all our payables came in, all our expenses, so that got booked, but we do always have some stragglers, unfortunately, that come in later that we will make the adjustment.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
What's your vote, Mr. Dockett?
Yes.
Zelenock,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Chockley,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
7-0.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on. Oh, here. Sorry, I lost everybody. The first agenda item is the July 14th minutes.
Madam Chair,
Yes?
we need to adopt the balance of the agenda.
Oh, yeah. And it's missing from our
That's
packet.
correct.
You're right. Okay, I'd like to make a motion, or why don't you, to adopt the balance of the agenda?
No. I'm not making that.
Okay,
I'm not making that motion with how many items do we have on here?
All right, I will make the motion to adopt the balance of the agenda.
13 items? We'll be here until midnight.
Not if we don't talk too long.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Support.
Okay, motion by Chockley, support by, I'm going to say Chick. Oh, do you have a question, Ms. Chick?
No, I
Are you
support it.
just supporting? Okay. All right. I'm going to say, all in favor, say aye.
No.
Discussion.
Roll call.
No.
Discussion.
No.
Okay, discussion. Go ahead. Who wants to discuss it?
I do.
Go ahead.
So the first thing is, I think if we are past 9 o'clock, we should have a mandatory 5-minute break at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Support.
That's a good idea. Remind us at 9 o'clock.
No worries there.
Okay.
And then, we'll see how we go. It's just, how many pages again? Over 300 and some pages.
Well, let's get to it.
Yeah.
I agree. So let's get to it.
Okay. So we need a roll call vote here on the agenda.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Dockett.
He said yes.
Dockett, what's your vote?
Yeah.
I think we have to have a roll call vote on everything, don't we?
Yep, go ahead, Mr. Dockett.
You're the first call. What's your vote? All right, let's try somebody else. Zelenock.
Okay.
Yes.
Beliger.
Yes.
Check.
Yes.
Dockett.
Yes.
Manley, yes. Otto.
Yes.
Chockley.
Yes.
All right, 7-0.
Okay, that passes. Thank you. All right, the first item is the July 14th meeting minutes. I guess, and does anyone have any amendments that they have seen to this at this point? Okay.
Has anyone got any what?
Amendments to the July 14th minutes. And Mr. Dockett, you had an issue with it.
I have an issue I would like to, on page 3, left-hand column, bottom. It was about 2.5 hours into the meeting, the last meeting we had. And we was trying to get something passed. And I thought it was going to pass, and then it didn't. And I said, well, I have to have a break. And while I was gone, that didn't pass. But then they rearranged the amendment, and it passed. And it says that I was away. But I thought that somebody would say, well, we got to have a break here. That's the docket. But I said, I'm a no vote on this. So I would like to have it show that I'm a no vote, or I'd like to have it said that I asked for a break and didn't get it.
Okay. So prior to the amendment to motion, we can say that Mr. Dockett asked for a break, asked for a recess. Mr. Dockett asked for a recess. And it didn't happen.
That's fine. I
Like
can live with that.
Okay. We'll put that right before the first amendment to motion under number 9.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, anybody else have any changes needed? Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes as amended.
Support.
Motion by Chockley, support by Beliger. Okay, roll call, please.
Manley, yes. Zelenock.
Yes.
Check.
Yes.
Otto.
Yes.
Chockley.
Yes.
Dockett.
Yes.
Beliger.
Yes.
7-0.
Okay, thank you. The next one are the minutes of July 28th, and I'll make a motion to adopt those as distributed.
Support.
Motion by Chockley, support by Beliger. Do we have any discussion on this one? Okay, seeing nobody.
I do. I just
Okay.
want to thank everybody for getting this technical difficulty resolved.
Okay.
Thank you for
Okay.
making sure the meeting progressed or as planned. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, go ahead with the roll call, please. Ms. Miller.
Beliger.
Yes.
Check.
Yes.
Dockett.
Yes.
Otto.
Yes.
Manley, yes. Chockley.
Yes,
Zelenock.
Yes.
7-0.
thank you. That passes 7-0. Okay, next item. I'd like to make a motion to approve the payment of the open bills with the expected check run date of 8/12/2020 for a total of $239,463.91 from all funds in the Municipal Investment Fund account. Do I have a second?
Support.
Okay, we have support by
Dick.
Dick. Okay, do we have discussion on this item?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Beliger has her hand up.
Yeah. On page 1, I move to amend these open bills and remove the payment to the Huron River Watershed membership dues for a total of $846.03.
Support.
Okay,
Seeing that we are expecting to be receiving very much of a reduced budget from the state revenue sharing. And I'm concerned with expenditures of this nature that are not necessary for the community. And Huron River Watershed gets a lot of funding from corporate and so forth. I don't believe they're going to be hurting. And I don't believe that the township personally receives much benefit. And I certainly think that any information the township does decide to get, or members of the community do wish to obtain from the Huron River Watershed, is still available. They can find it online or contact them for various data if needed.
Okay. So we have a motion by Ms. Beliger and support by Mr. Dockett to remove the 2020 membership dues for the Huron River Watershed Council. Do we have any other discussion from any board members? Ms. Zelenock.
This was, we did our budget and we included this membership fee in it, so I will be approving it because it's in our budget.
Okay.
And I've been told that just because something's budgeted doesn't mean it has to be expended.
Okay. And I will be approving it also. I think water quality is important to all of us, and I think they do an excellent job of being a watchdog for that. Okay, any other comments?
Vote.
If I see no one else, okay, go ahead, Ms. Manley, roll call for the amendment to
For the
remove
amendment only.
the membership dues.
So a yes is to remove it, a no is to not remove it.
Correct.
Check.
No.
Manley, no. Otto,
No.
Chockley,
No.
Dockett,
Yes.
Beliger,
Yes.
Zelenock.
No.
Okay, that fails.
I have another question on the bills.
Okay.
On page, this is the, there's no pages, I don't believe.
That's at the top.
This is in the attorney, the itemized bills from the attorney. So back at the end of the packet, counting from the very first one, page 1, 2, 3, 4. It appears to be the 5th page of Fink and Fink. I have a question. It's in the middle of there on date June 6th of 2020, in the middle of the document. It says telephone conference with treasurer regarding building and use restrictions effect on construction plans. I was curious what building use and questions and restrictions and construction plans might this have been a question that the treasurer would need to contact our attorney on. I was kind of curious on that. Maybe have some clarification. Maybe the treasurer recalls.
I don't recall specifically, but occasionally I do call our attorney. I think it's in our best interest that we contact our current attorney with questions. So I don't recall specifically on that. It doesn't ring an exact bell on the communication.
Yeah, it makes sense to have. I would expect that you would contact him regarding treasurer duties and so forth, but this is building and use restrictions effect on construction plans. So it seems.
So if I recall, I'm coming to light, but personally, I will call our attorney when I think it's appropriate for me as a board member, beyond being a treasurer, to talk to our attorney. I do believe it was in regards to a marijuana establishment.
Okay.
And I was doing my due diligence.
Okay. Any more questions on the open bills?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Dockett, what is it?
I would like to have an explanation because I know because Lenore called me and told me that I asked the question on page 1, a little bit more than halfway down where it says Board of Review.
Yep.
And it says the drains. And it says $1,236. But she explained to me that it wasn't about drains, but it's about taxes. Maybe she can clarify that if anybody else is curious.
Okay. Yeah, those are the summer taxes that the township pays on the properties that they own that are not off the tax rolls. So the $1,236.68 was the actual summer taxes for 75 Barker.
Okay, page 2, bottom of the page, almost the bottom, land preservation. And it says summer taxes, $555. What's that about?
Ms. Zelenock would know.
Page 2, second from the bottom.
Yep, Ms. Zelenock knows about this. Go ahead, Ms.
Well,
Zelenock.
as you can say, it's a contribution for land preservation. So we are paying, the Land Preservation Committee is paying for the newsletter that went, their portion that went into the taxes. And so that was the bill for that portion.
Mm-hmm.
So we are covering that bill from the Land Preservation Committee through donations.
Thank you. It was a really nice piece too.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, so we have a motion by Chockley, support by Chick to pay the open bills as stated. So roll call, please.
Manley, yes. Zelenock,
Yes.
Dockett,
No.
Otto,
Yes.
Chockley,
Yes.
Beliger,
No.
Chick.
Yes.
Thank you. That passes 5-2, correct, Ms. Manley? 5-2. Okay. All right. The next item on the agenda is the proposed Planning Commission work plan. So, I think we've got a substitute for Mr. Lippens, even though we see Mr. Lippens' face on the screen here, with us tonight to talk about this. Ms. Chick is also on the Planning Commission. She may have something to say. Go ahead, Ms. Chick.
Yeah, I do. First I want to say the Planning Commission approved this special projects and annual planning report. We were not aware of any cost at that time, which is why we asked the Mr. Lippens to come up with the cost for some of these things. There is the issue again that we only have a limited number of meetings before the end of our term. And we want to make sure that we're paying particular attention to the new businesses that are coming into the town. And those are going to take a lot of time. So I think we need to be a little conservative about what we're asking the Planning Commission to do as far as projects. I need a little more information from the planner on the number 2, the development packet and procedure. I'm assuming I want to know a little more detail what is involved in that for that $5,000. I'd like to see a breakdown of how this money is being utilized for each item that we're talking about. The other issue is I'm really, this is me personally, but I really think that we don't have an urgent need to do a parking study at this time. We don't have a lot of things going on right now, and at the point where I think we're actually starting to see businesses come in and more development in the downtown area, then maybe a parking plan might be needed. I just don't see the benefit right now. I mean, you can take 3 minutes and drive through downtown Whitmore Lake, and you can see where the need is, and you can see where we have parking. We have our downtown strategic action plan, and we have our North Village plan, and all of those don't notate places where we need parking. So I'm not sure why we would need this at this time. Do you want me to go through the whole thing?
Well, maybe we ought to take them one at a time, because there are some, pros and cons about all of them. And Mr. Lippens is online at this point, so it might be appropriate for him to actually discuss them.
Can I just talk first thing before you speak, Mr. Lippens? I'm sorry. Number 1, the zoning ordinance update. I actually had a conversation with Miss Bird, and started over something small about the size of our when we're posting our notifications for public hearings. one document says we need a 4x4 sign, another document says we need our 4x8 sign, and that manual hasn't been done since Carlisle Wortman, so we've got conflicting information. I think that is important to get straight since we've got new businesses coming in and have that so that we're not questioning what we're telling people and they're not questioning us. So I think that's an important thing, and I'm assuming that is part of the zoning ordinance update, Mr. Lippens, or it's not, because I would like to see it added if it's not.
Okay, Mr. Lippens, go ahead and walk us through these items, and then we can all make comments about them. Start with 1.
He's trying to get on.
Oh, I see. You're not muted, so.
Can't
I
hear.
can see his lips moving.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Go ahead.
Oh, great. Wonderful. I apologize. So I have been on the call at the meeting the whole time, but I was also had my phone going, so that's why I was listening with my phone audio. So, thank you, trustees, for putting this on the agenda to discuss this evening. First, I'll address Ms. Chick's question about the development review packet. That is a very important project, and it's been something that Mary's wanted to work on for a while. And it is included in the memo, but it's called the development review packet, which was something that was also included in the Planning Commission work plan. I think it's really important. The zoning ordinance, in specific reference to the sign question, requires a 4x4 sign, and the packet says 4x8. So we've been asking people to comply with the regulation, which is 4x4. But that's one example of why we need to update the packet. That is something that I would probably suggest we work on. The other thing in the Planning Commission work plan that I think is important to discuss is the Parks and Recreation Plan, which came up in the questions this evening, and the supervisor discussed how the need to update our Parks and Rec plan is crucially tied to the implementation of the downtown plan, the perimeter plan for the downtown park, connecting to the Barker Road Trail and the regional trail network. There is a vision in the township and a priority, but the way these things are implemented is through the Parks Plan, and it's time. The Parks Plan, it needs to be updated every 5 years. So in doing that project, we would be eligible then again to apply for grants. And I think with all the work the township has done, we are in a very good position, both for potentially acquisition funds, but also for facility funds for building things like trails. So I do think that's an important project. And it's one, I think Trustee Chick also made a very valid and valuable point that Planning Commission has a lot to do this year. So it's certainly okay if some of the projects they discussed go on into the next budget cycle. The Parks Plan is something that really we would pursue with the Parks and Recreation Committee separately. And of course, we would ask the board and the Planning Commission for their opinion on that product as well. With regards to the questions about the downtown parking study, I do concur that the vision for downtown parking is expressed in the downtown strategic action plan. I think the questions that remain about creating public resources for parking in the downtown really deal with a process for shared use agreements, public access, and those types of issues. So The report that I put together for the agenda is for the board to take and see if you want to prioritize everything. You know, as I know, there's a lot on the agenda. You may have things you want to pursue. I know the board likes to have budgets attached to projects, which is why I included them in the memo I prepared. But I think we understand if you want to pursue these next year. If you're not ready to act on any of them at this time, we're really following up to provide the board with the information that we talked about at Planning Commission. And should you want to plan for any special projects this year, we can discuss that this evening.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put my 2 cents in here now because I know I've talked to Mr. Lippens about some of these items, and they affect how much money we actually have. So we've been getting a lot of feedback about our development packet. A lot of this seems to me to be administrative. It could be done outside of the Planning Commission. You don't have to beat everything, in front of the camera, but it seems like a couple members of the Planning Commission and Mr. Lippens could bring forward to the commission some fairly complete work as far as these minor changes to the zoning ordinance. And one of those other minor changes would potentially be the code enforcement issue. We just need to be able to allow our code enforcement officer to be able to write tickets. And, so it's changing misdemeanor to, it's just a simple word change. Some of this is just administrative and could be easily done quickly, I would think, within a board meeting. The other issue, though, that I have about the downtown parking, and yes, we don't need a full-blown plan potentially, but we have the opportunity to have a payment in lieu of parking ordinance so that when a business comes in, right now, we don't require them to have any parking spots whatsoever. They could consume all the parking spots out on the road, and we would have no way to increase the parking downtown. We wouldn't have any funds for it. But when a business comes in, say, and they would regularly be required to have 5 parking spots, for instance, they, instead of having to build the spots, they could provide some funding to the township to hold in a fund to actually build the spots for them. And that's what a payment in lieu of parking ordinance would be. And we talked about this way back. So, and that was intended when we did the form-based code, the Whitmore Lake Downtown, the Whitmore Lake Waterfront, and the Whitmore Lake North Village, when we actually put those actual districts in place. So, we have business potential down there. But we don't have parking for some of them if we should increase that. So I think that's an important thing. We're losing money if we're not, doing something like that. Seems like a really easy thing to rip off somebody else's, payment in lieu of parking ordinance and then bring it to the Planning Commission after it's been, all cleaned up and vetted. Parks and Rec master plan's critical if we're going to be able to do anything downtown. And so I'd hate to put that off so we lose out again on funding there. So that's all my 2 cents for everything. And we have other people. Ms. Beliger, go ahead.
I move to authorize township manager to approve the planner to provide up to, I'd like to start at like $5,000 of assistance to prepare and update the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. I'd like to start with a $5,000.
Okay. And because you're on Parks and Rec.
Well, it's something that
Yes.
needs to be done, and I just want to get the meeting moving along here. So like I say, I move to authorize township manager to approve the planner to provide up to $5,000 of assistance or service to prepare and update the Parks and Rec master plan, working of course with Parks and Rec.
Okay. I think it's shy of enough funding.
Well, I think we should start with that.
Okay, do we have a second for that? Mr. Lippens, how do you feel about you obviously put in $9,500 and that does not include meetings for public engagement. So public engagement is an absolute critical part of a Parks and Rec plan or it won't be approved by the state. Ms. Otto? Unmute.
The last time the Parks and Rec master plan was done, it was done by Howard Fink.
Right.
In conjunction with the planner. The majority of it was done by him. That's where we had a large amount of our savings and everything. We're probably not going to be able to have that same a directive like we've had in the past. So I do believe that having it at $5,000 is not going to bring us where we need to be.
Mm-hmm. We can always add to it. I'm just saying, let's get started.
Any other comments? Oh, sorry. Ms. Zelenock's got her hand up.
At one point in time, I was on the Parks and Rec committee, probably back in 2006, 7, and 8. And the committee actually wrote the Parks and Rec plan. And at the end, we did have the planner review it. We did have 2 public hearings. So the committee itself basically did the plan. I think personally the plan is pretty much done. It needs to incorporate certainly the North Village. And I really think I'd like to see the Parks and Rec make an effort to get it done. And if they need assistance, or if they need help with maybe planning out the specifics of the park, I would certainly ask them to come to the board and ask that. But I would recommend the Parks and Rec do it. I know I actually am very proud of the plan and still have it available that I worked on as the chair and the committee. Everybody took a piece, everybody updated, as well as, and then like you said, Ms. Otto, last time the township manager was very heavily involved.
Yes, he was.
Well, that sounds good, Lenore. And I think that, like you said, most of the heavy lifting's already been done. So I don't see why it just couldn't handle a few modifications and maybe run it through the planner and a few of the public meetings, and let's get it taken care of. I agree.
Okay, Ms. Check.
Yeah, so basically, I feel the same way that it was the last Parks and Rec plan, and it was done very well with Mr. Fink's leadership.
There's a clock ticking. Can they eliminate that?
I don't know whose it is. Do you have a?
I think it was me.
Turn signal.
I have a turn signal on it. It's actually emergencies. I'll shut it off. I apologize.
Okay. So yeah, so the
Sorry about that.
Parks and Rec plan we have right now is a really good plan. I think it still stands up. The only difference is that we have the North Village that is still in flux. We don't know what's going to happen there yet. We don't know the size of the park area. I think that's probably the only part of it that needs attention, other than anything language that might need to comply with any changes in the state. That would have to be looked at as well. I just think 9,500 is a lot. We don't need a complete. It needs tweaking. It doesn't need new pictures. It doesn't need all this other stuff that we put into the master plan. In a new look. To me, it's just a text change and maybe some information on North Village. My opinion, I think Parks and Rec could probably do it with help. I think they need some kind of guidance there because they're not professionals. But I think that just basically needs tweaking.
I have to agree with Janet.
Okay. Let me unmute Mr. Dockett because I'm sure. Go ahead, Mr. Dockett. Do you have some input?
Yes. We're talking about a work plan. Paul Lipton and McKenna needs to be gone from Northfield Township, in my opinion. Northfield Township needs RFPs from other companies, not a work plan from Paul Lipton for $19,500. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I do wonder if it can be done less expensively, but Mr. Fink was a planner, so he had a lot of expertise there that he did provide. as part of his position. So that was a good thing to get that done. I agree there's a lot of fluff in there, and potentially we could have members of the Parks and Rec Board do some of that work, or even the Planning Commission members do some of that work. But, I'd hate to see us have a marginal plan when we could have a good one. And so.
We want to see you call the question, see if the board wishes to approve up to 5,000 to work with Paul. And,
we need a second for your.
I like the advice of other trustees with regards to having most of the work be done and then bring to Mr. Lippens for his expertise.
We need a second for your motion before we could vote on it.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion by Ms. Beliger and support by Ms. Zelenock to expend up to $5,000 for the plan.
So, Ms. Beliger, I do have, so it will be led though by the Parks and Rec.
Yep.
And you will judiciously use our planner as needed.
Yes.
Okay, because again, I think it is a good plan. I think there are qualified people on the Parks and Rec to update it, and then I would expect Mr. Lippens to review it. Certainly one thing I would like is to have a cost estimate of things that we have talked about having at North Village, such as people have talked about a beach. I don't know how much that's cost. $1 million, $500,000, $250,000. I have no idea. I'd like to get a cost. We talked about having a pier. I'd like to get a cost. We've talked about
those are additional to just a master plan design, but I understand your request for those.
Yeah, so I mean, we talk about it, but I'd like to know, is it $1 million, $500,000, $2 million, $3 million? I have no idea, but people have talked about that. So I'd like to have a plan put together so we can go and get a cost of those amenities that people have asked for. But again, I think you have qualified people on the Parks and Rec. I think the last two plans have been done pretty much by the Parks and Rec. And I would expect the same on this with assistance from our planner.
Okay.
And if you can tell me that, Ms. Bellinger, that it'll be assistance from our planner and not him driving it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
The last Parks and Rec plan had 38 people respond to give input. 38 is not a whole lot. And I think it's important that we get enough of the public to, comment on it. And I think that might take some expertise to get people engaged and be able to provide that kind of information as they're getting it together. So I don't know that it will cost up to $9,500, but
starting at 5, right?
I suspect it would get up there. If you're having some public meetings, of course, virtually, I don't know, but
right. That's a whole new world too.
The whole new world, yeah.
They only get 38 people at a Zoom meeting, so.
Yeah. I don't know that we could have a valid one if we can't get better input than that. So anyway, Mr. Lippens has his hand up.
A requirement for a certain amount
I do.
Input.
Okay, Mr. Lippens.
Yeah, I just been listening to the conversation. So just a little bit of comments. I've done a lot of parks plans. I think probably for the budget I put in there, 9,500, we could do a webinar or that kind of public engagement. I think what I meant when I said not including meetings was board meetings, planning commission meetings, parks committee meetings, because it's hard for me to estimate how many of those meetings we want, right? But I think the idea of doing a public workshop, I think I could certainly do that for that budget. Also, if you're only comfortable authorizing 5,000 to move forward, I think that's fine. I would just say that as a planner, it's going through other people's work and reviewing it to meet the deadlines is kind of just as hard as not going through their work. So a little background on the parks process. It is a very regimented process. has very specific guidelines. If you've written a number of these plans, you know how to do it effectively. And I know that that kind of $8,000 to $9,000 price tag is about as efficient as all those things can be done with one public meeting and the required public hearings in, a 6-month timeline. So I thought you'd want to have this conversation. I know it's important, so I wanted to give you the ability to authorize it so we can get it going. But I'm certainly happy with the Parks Committee taking the lead. But, I do want to provide you with the advice that it's actually a pretty standard process. What we want to do is incorporate all of your new ideas and all of the work that you've done with respect to these trail connections that we've been discussing at the meeting tonight. So whatever action you take tonight, we will help make it happen. The bottom line is you need a new plan adopted by April, and we can get that done. So I'm certainly going to work in whatever capacity you would like, for sure.
Well, I would hope well before April, so we have a plan that's valid, so we can get some grant applications in. So, anyway.
Of course.
Okay, 5,000. I guess we have a vote on that.
Good. All right, Otto,
Yes.
Beliger,
Yes.
Check,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Zelenock,
Yes.
Chockley,
Reluctantly, yes.
Otto.
Voted.
Already called you.
voted.
Dockett.
Oh.
Before I answer, before I vote, I think we should cross off the date of July 21st on this board packet I'm looking at for McKenna and put August 11th on it. So we know when you passed it or didn't pass it. In my packet it says July 21st.
That's okay.
Okay, what's your vote for 5,000?
No.
No.
No. Okay. Is that everybody?
Yep.
Okay.
So what did we have?
6-1.
6-1? Okay, 6-1. Okay, if you need to come back for any more, hopefully we'll be able to get it done. All right, so that's that one. I would like to make a motion that Mr. Lippens prepares administratively for zoning ordinance update, the minor zoning ordinance updates that need to happen, and getting a payment in lieu of parking and getting the code enforcement officer able to write tickets.
Can we take these one at a time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
This is
all right.
too much.
Okay, which one do you want to do? Zoning ordinance update? Okay. I'll make a motion. Well, no, go ahead, Ms. Chick. You go ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion for the board to approve the planner to work on the zoning ordinance update.
I'll support.
Okay, motion by Chick, support by Otto. And what kind of updates? Just the minor ones that need doing?
Yeah, it wasn't Mr. Lippens referred to that there were only minor adjustments in the updates.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion by Chick, support by Otto.
Is that in our packet?
It says zoning ordinance update. It's number 1 on the memo that you got in your packet.
On the what? On the what?
The memo that's in your packet dated July 21st.
Yeah.
Number 1. And,
Okay.
yeah, Ms. Chick made the motion and Ms. Otto seconded that. Okay,
Yeah, from the planning commission.
right, for the planning commission to do these changes. Okay,
I got it.
okay. Ms. Manley, go ahead.
Check,
Yes.
No, discussion.
Okay.
Oh, discussion.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Ms. Zelenock, go ahead.
So under it, it says no board action required.
Right.
Oh, I'm curious why we're making board action. And then the other one is there any cost associated with this?
Mr. Lippens? Oops.
Well, how can we that? What, you're gonna vote on each one of these items
Well,
after we already voted.
we only voted on one. Hang on, let Mr. Lippens respond.
The reason why it says no action required, although I think Planning Commission would appreciate the board taking a vote on this, is because we're still operating under the previous authorization, and we would incorporate these new items regarding the code enforcement changes into that work. So
Okay.
it's an ongoing work, but still on the Planning Commission's work plan.
Go ahead, Ms. Chick.
I just wanted to comment that the planning commission, by motion and a majority vote, said that they would only work on those things that the board directed them to work on by vote.
Okay. So we do need that. Ms. Otto?
So this says that there was a subcommittee to review the draft. The subcommittee has not convened. Subcommittee. And why has it been delayed?
I would not say it's been delayed. We haven't convened the committee yet. But as you know, Planning Commission has been very busy this summer. In fact, we're scheduling a third meeting. But I will certainly take the comment under advisement to convene that committee as soon as possible.
Okay. More discussion? Ms.
So
Zelenock?
is there any cost associated? Is it part of the retainer? I mean, so the other one we just voted on was $5,000, so it's no action required by board. And is there any cost associated? Is it just ongoing?
I answered that question. Sorry. There is a previous authorization to do zoning work, and we're still operating under that authorization. And I don't know, I don't have the exact number with me tonight, but I think maybe we're 75% through the prior authorization. And I don't, at this time, haven't seen a need to request for additional funding to that scope.
Okay.
So certainly if you'd like to follow up, Madam Treasurer, we can look at that scope, and over the phone I can update you on it or we could include it in an upcoming packet, whatever you prefer.
No, so I'm good. So Ms. Chick.
Okay.
You're indicating that the Planning Commission wants approval to continue this work because it's already being done. Is that correct?
Yeah, because it's on our work plan.
Okay, and it's already part of a work order that we approved.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any more comments? All right, I better check with Mr. Dockett. Okay, Mr. Dockett, do you have any more comments before we vote?
Yes, it says, when I read my packet and it says no board action required on number 1, number 3, and number 2, I don't pay much attention to that. I don't study that very much. And then all of a sudden, we're voting on it. I don't think that's proper.
Okay.
To put it in the packet and say no action required, and then turn around and vote on it without any discussion, without any time for anybody to think about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we are going to vote on it anyway. Go ahead, Ms. Manley.
Chockley.
Yes.
Otto.
Yes.
Zelenock.
No.
Beliger,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Dockett,
No.
so 5-2.
5-2.
I
Okay,
just want
thank
to say
you.
I agree with Mr. Dockett. It's very confusing when you say no board action and then we start making motions, so.
Okay. All right, I would like to make a motion to have a payment in lieu of parking.
What was the count, ma'am? I asked.
5-2.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'd like to make a motion to have a payment in lieu of parking ordinance prepared. I mean, we don't have to rush, but we are potentially losing revenue if we don't have one. So hopefully that can be done semi-administratively and potentially by that subcommittee, and we have something then to vote on. So anyway, did that cost money? Let me see.
Where is
Yeah,
that?
I
Is that
think
number
it would.
4?
That's number
Yeah.
4.
What
Downtown
happened to number
parking.
2?
Development procedures. Well, I skipped to number 4 because that's important to me. Okay, payment in lieu of parking, and it has a budget of $5,000. Mr. Lippens, will it take $5,000 to do a payment in lieu of parking ordinance?
I think that if you wanted to limit it, eliminate essentially the study and looking at the options and just say, let's go right to a payment of in lieu of parking, I think you could probably reduce that by 50%. If the board is comfortable with that approach, we would just research other ordinances, bring other ordinances to the committee, and then ask that committee to endorse essentially a draft ordinance. So I think we could do that for about half if we kind of cut through the part where we look more broadly at what solutions could be incorporated.
Okay, Ms. Otto? Unmute.
So the payment in lieu of parking, I know it brought up, but I don't think we've ever discussed it as far as, is this something that we need? The depth of it, what's it all involved, that type of thing. This is probably the most we've ever talked about it.
Okay.
So I don't even know. We have limited areas for parking.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really still would like to know more about it.
Okay. Well, in the
other than if I looked it up myself.
Yeah, the downtown strategic plan has some opportunities that are written into it for additional parking along Barker Road, even with potential with a boulevard. So, and if we could do sidewalks and parallel parking, some in certain places, it all takes money. So, but we don't have it set aside. We don't have a fund to take care of that. And there could potentially be a parking lot over near the new, the North Village. So if we don't have any money, we can't do anything. If we don't want to charge for people that don't have parking, written into their site plan, then we're going to have to provide it for them with what? So if you all are uncomfortable and needing to get educated more on this item, I just know it's been talked about in Planning Commission or, for some time, but I know you all aren't involved with the Planning Commission. So,
I don't think that really is what it is. I think that we have a situation with 75 Barker,
mm-hmm.
that we have a developer that wants something more to do with, and this payment in lieu of parking is in conjunction with 75 Barker. It's more in conjunction with that than it is anything else.
No, he's got parking. He's got his own parking there, so he doesn't have any issues. It would be if the driftwood were developed, for instance, there would be issues because he can't put enough parking on his lot to manage that. You know how we didn't want to designate spots for driftwood parking.
Right, now, and I still wouldn't.
Yeah, right. So then where are they going to park? Will there be enough if we don't do something? Okay, that's me. Let's check.
Okay, so we have very limited space in our downtown area for businesses to actually do their business. So how much money do you think we're actually going to collect that will make a difference to create a parking lot? How much would you charge each business? How often are they charged? And how much money you say we're losing revenue? How much revenue are we losing?
Right. That's all part of the information that gets developed when they look at doing this ordinance. So if we don't start, we don't get it. But maybe somebody could do it on the side and bring something back. But I just think for $2,500, we could probably have an ordinance then. So.
Well, what I'm thinking is we have maybe room for, I don't know, not a handful. Okay, at the high end, maybe 20 businesses downtown. How much money can 20 businesses create to build a parking lot that's going to cost millions?
Well, that's what Mr. Lippens is for. So, anyway.
And is that what this payment in lieu of parking means? Is that what he will have to do? He will have to determine how much it costs to do a parking lot for the amount of businesses that are in the area.
Well, and another thing to consider. Oh, well, I'll let Mr. Lippens, since he's raised his hand, interject here. Go ahead, Mr. Lippens. I'm unmuting you, Mr. Lippens.
I think we're pressing the button at the same time. I just wanted to say, the reason why I put this on the agenda as a study was because I thought it might be useful for us to review a number of different options. One of them might be something like a special assessment district. Even though people don't love that, it is a way to build something like a shared resource, like a parking lot. But if we were to kind of zoom in on a payment in lieu of parking ordinance, what we would be doing would be creating a codified way for the township to accept payment and create a fund to provide parking for the people who are benefiting from the people who are parking, the businesses. So right now we don't have a way of accepting that payment. And really that's what we'd be doing with the payment in lieu of parking ordinance. We'd be creating a way for the township to collect the funds and the reasons and the criteria under which someone might be required to pay those funds. So it is certainly one solution that could address the need for a public shared parking resource. And, if it's a solution the board wants to pursue, I think we could do it pretty quickly if you want to dial into it. So I hope that's helpful.
Okay, so if no one else wants to talk, my motion is to go ahead and develop that. And I'll say at a cost of no more than $2,500. And if you all don't want to vote for it, you don't want to vote for it. But I'm going to make my motion. Do I have a second? Okay, dies for lack of a second. Okay. Anything else from this work plan?
We have to do, yeah, I think the code enforcement.
Well, I think that was mentioned as part of,
We have to do the development packet and features.
yeah.
Item number two, right? What is that? Is it a development of how people get zoning information, or what is that? Just a quick summary of what this means.
Mr. Lippens?
Thank you. Yep. It is a packet of information that also has, administrative guidance on how to get through the development process in Northfield Township. It is a very valuable tool, and Miss Bird would really like to work on this. I would really like to work on this. I think it's important, and a little bit of help from us would go a long way. I think Miss Bird would certainly appreciate it if the board considers authorizing us to help with this.
Well, this sounds perhaps a little similar to what myself, Lenore, and Janet were engaged in the trying to figure out what to do with the building department processes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This would help.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And that's what I was going to ask is, would this minimize some of the streamline some of the processes that we were?
Yes, that's the idea. Absolutely.
Okay. Ms. Chick?
So Marlene and I, when we were on the planning commission, I think we were working with Carlisle Wortman at the time. They actually created a checklist and a flow chart. And so we have that tool. I don't know if it's changed so that we need to amend it, or are we starting from scratch all over again? Are we even giving this information to people when they come into the township on a regular basis? Why do we, what's changed?
We do give it out, but it needs updating. Go ahead, Mr. Lippens. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just say, through the course of time, you adopt new procedures. There's new administrative procedures. It just needs to be updated. I think if we were starting from scratch, this would be a much bigger project. So we are looking to update what you have, also make improvements, but really make the packet something that can help to streamline the processes and communicate the processes. I think that this is an opportunity for, in doing this, to look at the fee structures for in the application fees, which we've talked about fairly recently. I think it would be a useful and fruitful process that I think a lot of board members would like to see done. And we're actually at a point now where we can tackle this, based on some of the other things that we've been able to do in the last several years. So,
Well, can I move to authorize township manager to approve the planner to provide up to $5,000 of assistance to update the township development packet?
Okay, we have a motion by Beliger. I'll support that.
Feel free to edit the dollar amount, anyone, if they wish.
Well, 5,000 seems like a lot, but it's up to. So, Miss Manley.
Is this packet something that Mr. Aynes and Mary Bird could possibly put together, or do we need Paul's input on this?
I can say it's confusing for applicants, and the flow charts are kind of with arrows all over the place.
Right.
So that's what I've heard about it. The DDA is very interested in having something that's very, very simple. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and you get to step 7, you're done. Something similar to what Garden City has. So, they want to promote it as they are trying to attract businesses into the downtown.
Right. I understand that.
Yeah.
And many townships are better than ours, but
yeah,
they're far their processes. But I mean, like I said, can our manager help with any of this? Just to save us some money.
I could speak to that.
Yep. Go ahead, Mr. Aynes.
Mary's tried to do this several times prior to my coming here, and she's just so busy she gets tied up with it. So we basically need to work on it where we have it in a form that she can just kind of say, yes, that's what we do, or it's not what we do, and here's how we ought to change it. But I can work with Mr. Lippens on it.
Ms. Chip?
Yeah, and
oh, sorry.
I just want to make something quick. When we're talking about the fees, the planning commission can do everything else, but we can't set fees. So that's the board's purview. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Lippens?
Yeah, I had raised my hands. So to answer the clerk's question, I think this is a team effort. I think, from talking with Mary, I think she needs my help. I certainly need her help. I need the manager's help. But I do really think that, working with us on this is going to add some value. I think we need to get a better product together. But yeah, I think it's a team effort. I think we need everybody involved on it.
Okay, so, Ms. Zelenock.
So, how do we measure that there has been improvement? How do we know that we spend the money and that it actually has improved the process? What's our measurement? Okay.
Well, for one thing, we could give it to you side by side. You could see what the current one is compared to what the improved version is, like comparing two different cars.
Okay. The other item I have is, Mr. Lippens, when your firm was hired, don't you have something that you would give to your new client and say, here's how the process should work?
Mr. Lippens?
Because my understanding is we're still using an application from our other firm, for our other planning firm. Is that not correct?
Well, yes. I mean, it's been around for a long time. I mean, this development processes are a lot of work. We have lots of models, and the model that was prepared for you by Carlisle Wortman was certainly a good model for the time when it was proposed. It just needs to be looked at. But yes, so we have lots of models, different things that I would like to put in to incorporate. This is a part of your planning and development process, and similar to updating your master plan or updating your zoning ordinance, you want to look at updating your development procedures. So, I would say it's time. And certainly, this is something that we do a lot and have some tips and tricks that we want to incorporate.
Okay, Ms. Chick.
Yeah, I just want to say, I agree. I think we've been talking about doing this for 4 years now. I think it's time to bite the bullet and actually update the process. And I think the measurement is going to be when we see our new businesses, our applications, or applicants coming through and getting through the process easier as long as they're complying with everything. So.
Right. I agree with that. And setting the right expectations for how long things are going to take for our applicants so that they're not frustrated when things get potentially pushed off. Okay.
One other question, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
So do we have budget money for this item?
Mr. Aynes, are we we'll have to probably pull this from fund balance, correct?
Yeah, if you remember when we had talked about the budget before, you were adopting a fairly bare bones budget, and then you were going to amend it as needed throughout the year. So it's a work in progress. So if you decide something's a priority, then that's where the money would be adjusted as a budget amendment.
So to answer that question, it would be no.
I don't see it in the current budget, no.
Right. Okay.
Should I amend my motion to a value of $3,000?
Okay, where are we? Up to?
Up to 3,000.
Okay, I'll accept that.
So the motion is to authorize the township manager to approve the planner to provide up to $3,000 of assistance to update the township development packet.
Okay. Roll call? Roll call, please.
Who supported?
I did.
Okay, thanks. Didn't know.
Oh, sorry. Roll call, Miss Manley?
Good. Zelenock.
Yes.
Otto. I think that was a yes.
Yes.
Beliger.
Yes.
Dockett.
Oops, sorry. Unmute. Go ahead, Mr. Dockett.
Mr. Dockett?
What?
Yes, no? What's your vote? Are you there? All right, why don't we come back? Check?
Yes.
Manley? Yes. Chockley, did I already call you?
Yes.
Okay. Dockett?
I thought we voted.
Nope.
You didn't.
Waiting on your vote. It's 606 right now. Yes.
I'd like to have it read back to me. I don't know what's happening there. I thought we just voted on it.
Okay.
What,
The motion was, okay.
what's the motion? What's the
Motion was to authorize the township manager to approve the planner to provide up to $3,000 of assistance to update the township development packet.
My answer is no.
Okay.
6-1.
Okay, that passed 6-1. Thank you. Okay, I think we're done with this item. Correct? Okay,
Thank you, board.
thank you. Okay, the next item is the proposed agreement with Paul G. VanBuhler clarifying the division of properties.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, did we handle
Yes.
the code enforcement? I'm not sure. Number 6.
That was going to be part of the ordinance. I mean, it's just an ordinance
Okay.
thing.
Okay, thank you.
Should be pretty easy to do.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're on the proposed agreement with Paul G. VanBuhler, and I will leave Mr. Aynes, and I think I've got,
Just make a motion to accept it first.
okay,
I'm serious. I mean,
okay, I've got, all right. I'll make a motion to accept the proposed agreement with Paul G. VanBuhler clarifying the division of his properties.
Support.
Okay, motion by Chockley, support by Beliger. Okay.
there's a lot more to the motion, right? Or did I get it right?
No, I don't
So
know.
it's with Paul VanBuhler with terms substantiating similar to the agreements in the packet and to record the agreements and any exhibits deemed appropriate by the manager and the township attorney.
Okay, I'll substitute you for me then. Okay.
Support.
Go ahead, Ms. Zelenock. Okay.
Well,
And
thank
Ms. Beliger supported it. Okay. Any discussion on this item?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Questions. I understand it's 2 parcels being added to, being combined and then redivided into 5. I was curious, the 5 parcels, I don't believe, many of them I don't believe are large enough to put a house on in this district, in this zone. So,
If I could answer the question.
Yep. Go ahead, Mr.
In
Aynes.
this case, these are 2 larger parcels. They happen to be bisected by the school boundary lines. In dividing it into 5 parcels for having 5 different houses on it, part of each of those lots, for 3 of them are okay, but the other 2 stretch across the boundary line to the school district. So it's not that you're dividing it up so you have those small pieces with houses on it. Specifically, they're agreeing that they will not put the houses on the small pieces and not let the house be bisected by the school district line, which creates all kinds of difficulties for assessment. So this has been agreed to by the attorney, the assessor, the planner, and myself, that this is the best way to do it. And I started to do it administratively, and then Mr. Fink said, well, if there was ever any complications at all, it would be stronger if the board approved it than if I just signed it administratively. So that's why it's in front of you.
thank you. That's excellent. Thank you very much, Steve.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Otto. Unmute. Okay.
Okay, so Paul, you might have to help me, but I think this came before the ZBA before splitting the properties, if I recall this correctly.
It did. Can you hear me? I unmuted myself.
Yep, okay.
It did go before the ZBA. It went before the ZBA for a variance from the lot ratio for one of the properties.
Right.
and it was supported by the zoning administrator, and it did receive the variance prior to us pursuing the easement agreement that Mr. Aynes described.
Yeah, and I do recall during that meeting that this did come up. We did talk about this, that there might be issues with it.
Okay. What's the zoning on these parcels, Mr. Lippens? Is it agriculture or what?
I believe that this is from memory because I don't have it in front of me. I believe that they are in the SR2 district.
Right. Okay. Okay. So then they are large enough. Okay. All right. So we have a motion. Do we have any more questions? Ms. Zelenock?
Mr. Aynes and our attorney, they're recommending that we proceed with this, correct?
Okay.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, correct from us.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
So I have a question.
Okay, Mr. Dockett.
Are these in the rural area?
No, they're SR2.
Excuse me?
They're single family residential too, so they're smaller. I thought we weren't going to make any more SR2s.
Well, what I'm asking is, if you're in a rural area, they're supposed to be 5 acres. Is that correct?
They're not, Mr. Lippens.
They're not in the rural. Are they on the sewer? If they're not on the sewer, you gotta have 5 acres.
Yeah,
as far as I know.
Mr. Dockett, they're on 7 Mile. They're probably in the sewer and they're very small. So they're 2/3 of an acre, it looks like in some cases. So they have to be on the sewer.
Anybody know where on 7 Mile?
I don't know.
I think that this used to be, I think, part of Gary Welling's old property.
It's almost to East Shore on 7 Mile.
Yeah, almost to East Shore on 7 Mile.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I can't understand it. So are they on the sewer line?
They may be on the sewer, Wayne. I think they were part of Gary Welling's old property that was on 7 Mile.
Oh, okay. No, that's already split. Yes, okay, I understand. Yeah,
So
it's on
you know
Gary
where it's
Welling.
at.
Yeah, it's on 7 Mile. Yes, I know all about it. Yeah, and I think he had 22 acres there, and I think he made about 8 lots or something.
Right.
I understand now. Thank you. I thought it was out in the country where there wasn't. That was my own question, to be on the sewer for the size that these lots are. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you. Are we ready to vote? Okay, go ahead, Ms. Manley.
Otto,
Yes.
Zelenock,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Dockett,
Yes.
Beliger,
Yes.
Chockley,
Yes.
7-0.
7-0. Okay, it's 3 minutes to 9. Do we need a break?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need a break.
Okay, let's take, how much do you need? Let's take till 5 after 9, so that's 7 minutes.
Works for me.
5 after 9, be back, because we're going to start it up again. Okay, thank you.
My baby's doing it.
Hey, Marlene,
Yes?
you just asked me to unmute myself.
Yeah, I did. I was wondering, do you have any specific items that are still on the agenda that we need you to hang around for?
I do not believe I do. I was going to ask you the same thing.
Yeah. Now, I did send the memorandum of understanding and resolution 2628 to for the cellular hotspot to Jim.
Okay.
Just for his pending attorney approval. I haven't heard back on that item.
I didn't hear anything from him on that either.
Okay, well, we'll just make the motion pending his approval.
Okay.
Let's see, what else do we have? I don't know. Let's ask Steve when he gets back in. Steve?
Yes, I'm here.
Do we need Mariah anymore?
Well, we always need Mariah, but I guess she can go home or stay home.
Okay. All right. We'll let
Thank
you go,
you.
Mariah.
All right, great. Have a great night.
Thanks. You too. Okay.
We do need to get item 7 done tonight so she can start work tomorrow.
Well, I'm hoping we'll get all of these done tonight. So we'll see. Let's. We got everybody back yet? Miss Otto? Yep. Okay. I'd like to call this meeting back to order. And I would like to make a motion to adopt resolution 2628 and the memorandum of understanding pending attorney approval to accept grant funding for back-to-school cellular hotspot at the Public Safety Building. Do I have a second?
I'll support.
Okay, motion by Chockley, support by Chick. Now, I can give you some background unless everybody's going, yeah, let's just vote.
No,
Does anybody want background?
Yes, please.
Okay. So the Broadband Task Force, approached the county to provide internet hotspot for potentially homeschoolers or kids that wouldn't necessarily be going back to school, or people that are having to work at home that need internet access that may not have enough of it at home. And so they're providing $1,000 for the equipment, $500 for the installation, and up to $600 for a year's worth of the hotspot, the Wi-Fi hotspot, a wireless access point at the Township Hall. So I looked into this, spent a lot of time with Charter today and our internet guy, Kelly, and got some pricing so that you know what we would be getting into. What they basically would be doing is putting a wireless access point at the back of the Township Hall's parking lot, back by the fire station back there. And Kelly says that he can get us an upgraded router for both the fire station, but it also provides a firewall to keep, for security reasons, to keep the public out of the township's internet. But then we would be able to provide an antenna that would be able to throw the signal out into the parking lot. And so then people could come there and have internet access to get their homework done, to download files that they wouldn't necessarily have enough, bandwidth for at home. I know I could personally take advantage of that if I didn't come in here if I needed to. So what they're doing is providing this funding. And we will be able to do it for the amount of money that that the county is providing. The township would pay for it and would be keeping the equipment. And the county would reimburse us. So I don't think there's a downside. We have security back there in the back part of the parking lot. So it's a good place for it if people need to access the internet. And I've talked to Chief about it too, so I don't know if he's around. Yeah, there he is, if he wants to say something about it. But so he's on. Ms. Chick.
So I had a couple of questions, like how many users will it accommodate?
What I was hearing from Kelly was 10 to 25 at a time from the router he was showing me. So I guess that, I don't know how many cars you'd end up having parked back there anyway, but that's what he was saying.
For accommodating people, they either have to sit in their vehicle to do the work, or somebody mentioned about putting picnic tables back there for them to utilize when the weather permits.
Right.
Would we be supplying restrooms for people as well?
They could come in around the front door, if I suppose, but we do when they come and visit us in the front door. But I imagine a lot of people would come in the evening to download their homework. They're not going to probably be there in the daytime. But Mr. Wagner, do you have any input on this item?
No, there's probably, I would say, 20 available parking spots back there that aren't being used in general, with camera coverage for a good majority of, for security purposes of that area of the parking lot. And as far as access to the, attic area, it's a walkable attic, and we have stuff up there, and people have put security cameras and routers up there before, so I don't have any issue with any of that. We would not provide a public bathroom access in the fire department. I wouldn't recommend that, though.
No. And would there be a concern about people coming like in midnight, late at night in the back of the parking lot?
Well, I mean, it's a public lot, and it's, we have 24-hour policing that if they're looking to do something that they're not supposed to be doing, then they have a good chance of a police car driving up on them and just checking to make sure they're okay, that type of thing. So.
Okay. Any more questions from anybody? Ms. Beliger.
Yeah, what's the cost after 1 year?
What I got was it's $25 a month. I was talking to Charter, and we would be going from 100 megabytes to 200 megabytes, I guess. And Kelly says right now we're using less than 100, just less than 100. So we don't need to go any higher than that to be able to serve people. And it would be about, I think it's, we go from $87 a month to $110 a month. So it's what, $23. And for the whole year, the county would pay for it. And basically we'd end up with a brand new upgraded router for the fire department from it, and an exterior antenna. And it wouldn't cost us anything.
Okay, so I don't understand hotspots very well. So my question would be then, if there's a lot of people using it out in the parking lot, does that limit ability within the station of use?
Not with the 200 megabytes. We wouldn't. Okay. It seems like we should not have speed issues with that. I was from what I got from Kelly, he would be able to install it next week. We would need to get it done by the end of August. Before the kids go back to school, and the county would pay for it. We would just need to submit our receipts to them. And the reason it says December 2020 in the December 31st, 2020 on number 1 under specific provisions of the memorandum of understanding is because the county expects to get the bills and reimburse us before then.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Otto. Unmute.
Considered also putting something out at the second fire hall.
Well, we'd have to pay for that. And there's not security out there, is there, Mr. Wagner?
No, there's no cameras out there.
Mhm. If somebody's going to get in a car to drive, it's just a couple more miles to the township hall if they're.
Well, I know right now that the library also provides it out in their parking lot. I was just trying to see how we could at least cover different areas of our township.
Yeah, I understand.
And if we would do it, it would just seem like it would be, we have as many rural people that probably need it as much as we need people within the township.
Mhm.
I would say we have a charter in the building, and we do have a wireless access for in the building at Station 2. It's not a staff station, and there's no security out there. But if the township was looking to provide that for its citizens, I think the infrastructure's there to be able to do that.
We could just get Kelly to configure it so it would do that.
Yeah, I would think so.
I don't know about firewall issues, though. Kelly said we needed to upgrade our router and with the firewall.
Yeah, that's actually very, very important.
Right.
So would there be an opportunity that you could have a secured system and an unsecured system? So the unsecured system would be someone who would access it from schools, that type of thing. I would think that they would not put anything in, in home, when you're at home, you don't have a secured system anyways.
Right.
Normally things that you get from the school, it would not be anything that has PHI or PII on it or anything like that.
And I don't know what that is, but PII and PHI.
It's personal information.
Yeah, okay. But it would serve our fire department, so that would be secure. And then there would be this guest opportunity. So I don't see a downside for the township to provide this service at this time. Ms. Zelenock.
So why is it that we're not putting it Fire Station 2? Because they have internet capability, right?
Right, they don't have security.
Security camera.
Right.
Or the firewall if we allow access to the public.
Right. So isn't the router, I thought the router that we were purchasing was going to upgrade and do the firewall.
Right. We have a 7-year-old router currently in the fire station, according to Kelly. So he was going to upgrade that. We can ask him what it might cost to provide it at both locations.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
So I guess I know, as Miss Otto said, communicated with the library, they have it. And it would be good to, and I have to believe most of the people in town, not all, but would have access to Comcast and internet, where us people out in the rural.
Well, I can tell you from talking to from Charter, actually, that there are 3,400 homes or locations that are wired throughout the township for their service, but only 1,400 people actually subscribe. So, while there's a lot more people, maybe a lot of them can't afford it, or they're going with some other provider, like their cell phone, because it's expensive. And I can't get it. I can't get Charter at all. At my house. So I have to go through my phone, and I can blow through my 15 gigabytes in less than a week. Just, sometimes the computer decides it wants to update itself. And now I don't have anything left. And so here I am sitting at the township hall instead of trying to use it at home. So I could be sitting out there in the parking lot too in a couple months, taking advantage of it.
Well, I would like to see how much more it would cost us to do at Fire Hall.
Okay. Well, can we go ahead and take
it? Yeah, I don't mind doing this, but I would like to bring it back for the next meeting and to see what it would cost to have a second one.
Okay.
So can we make?
I think we just need to be able to cover all areas. I mean, if we could get it out even on the west side, I would even appreciate that, but we don't have property out there, so.
Right.
Could I suggest something?
Go ahead, Mr. Aynes.
when you're having the chief look at this branch station too, he might want to look at security cameras and so forth, and lighting, to see if there's
Include all
something like
that.
that needs to be done in conjunction.
Yeah, I was already going to do that. If we were having Kelly out there, we'd see what it cost to, because we already have the key access, remote key access, the same as we do for the community center, as we do for the public safety building. So it makes sense to put a couple cameras out there as well. I'll see what that costs.
Okay. So we'll get that information back for a hopefully soon future meeting. But so anyway, any more questions before we vote on this one?
What was the motion again?
The motion is to approve the resolution 2628 to accept grant funding for back-to-school cellular hotspots from the Washtenaw County Broadband Task Force and authorize the township manager to sign the resolution and the memorandum of understanding pending attorney review and approval. How's that?
So can we add in there though that it's going to be at no cost to the township, right?
Oh, sure. Well, unless we get really fancy stuff and we blow past our $1,500 and our $600. No, I talked to Kelly and it doesn't look like it's going to be that high. So, okay.
Premature
The cost of
before answering other questions. Is this premature at this point?
Is what premature?
Going forward with this motion at this point until you come up with other answers for the other buildings?
It's not premature. We have to complete this by the end of August, or we don't get it.
So it's at no cost, correct?
Right, at no cost. Okay, we can say at no cost to the township.
For the first year.
Yeah, for the first year.
We can cancel it after that. And, you read the memorandum of understanding and everything.
Yeah, I did. It was a little confusing.
Yeah.
It was hard to tell because 1,000 here, 600 here, 550 here. So yes, that's why I wanted it to be specific that my understanding is it's no cost, but there were numbers in the agreement. So.
Okay. So I'll add at no cost to the township. Okay. Can we have a roll call vote, please, Ms. Manley?
Yep. Check.
Yes.
Manley, yes. Otto,
Yes.
Zelenock,
Yes.
Chockley,
Yes.
Beliger,
No.
Dockett. Can you unmute him?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Okay, Mr. Dockett.
Can you hear me?
Yes. What's your vote?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Wayne, we can hear you.
Well, I had questions to ask here,
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
and I've been saying that for 10 minutes,
Well, we
and
did
nobody
hear you the last 10
acknowledged.
minutes.
Nobody
sorry.
acknowledged me.
You got to raise
What's that?
your hand. You got to raise your hand, Mr. Dockett. Go ahead.
I have no idea how to do that. How do I do that?
Well, you push *9.
Okay. I never did that before.
Okay.
Now I know.
Okay.
Okay. This is my comments on this.
Okay.
You say $25 or something like that. The thing is, when I turn, I first I'd like if the attorney has read this.
Oh, it's been sent to him and he's going to approve it before we sign it.
The attorney needs to read this.
Yes.
Okay. On page 2, well, there's no page number, but on page 2, it says under specific provisions. This agreement begins on the date of signature and it ends on December 31st, 2020. That's only 4 months.
Yep, I mentioned that, and that's because.
Well, I didn't hear you.
Okay.
I didn't hear that.
Okay, it needs to be installed by the end of August.
And I would agree with other people on there. These people are in the country supposedly that don't have internet. So it seems to me out at Fire Station 2. That's my take on it. But,
Okay.
and on page, or on the next page, it says that the second to the last page, number 5, it says that the township is responsible for maintenance of the equipment as well as the cost of any overage that may occur in the course of the residents using a cellular hotspot. So we really need to know what this is going to cost. It's going to hell of a lot more than $25. So we're responsible for everything. What do we need the county for? If we're going to do it for the people, why don't we just do it? They're not responsible for anything. That's it.
Okay, Wayne, thanks. Anything else?
What's your vote, Mr. Dockett?
Excuse me?
What is your vote on this, yes or no?
I can't. Are we voting on this?
Yes. It's your vote.
My vote is no until I find out more than what I know right now.
All right, so I think we're 5-2.
Okay, that passed 5-2. Thank you. All right, we'll get Mr. Fink to take a look at it and get it
I move
moving.
that we authorize the hiring of Catherine Hager for the position of front desk clerk, building department assistant at the pay rate of $15 per hour to work 30 hours per week with a hire date potentially of Wednesday, August 12th, 2020.
I'll support.
Okay, motion by Beliger, support by Otto. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Manley, yes. Zelenock,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Dockett,
Yes.
Check,
Yes.
Chockley,
Yes.
Beliger,
Yes.
7-0.
Okay, thank you. That passes.
What's the vote?
7-0.
Thank you.
Okay, now is discussing the disposition of the township-owned properties, and I will let Mr. Aynes handle this one.
Okay, we talked last time about the board's desire has been to sell any properties that are excess for the township. We don't have a whole lot of those now. The biggest one tax-wise was for 75 Barker, and that should be closed by the end of the month, the sale. So then the others fall into two big categories. One is the ones around Horseshoe Lake, and on that you'd approved the last full meeting, you approved selling one set of lots to one of the property owners. He's now come back and offered to buy several scattered ones around there. And then after that, you had another property owner come forward and want to buy a number of lots, and that's all in your backup material. But the board had said I should check with the Horseshoe Lake Association. Their response was that they're in the process of trying to figure out a way to form a nonprofit corporation that could take title to these properties that are vacant in the Horseshoe Lake area. And so their request is that the board not sell any more lots there until they get back to you. One of the property owners commented, who wants to buy, that the Horseshoe Lake's been talking about this for a long time and not doing it. But it's a question of whether you wanted to sell the lots to the one individual that are scattered lots. If you sell them to the next individual, it falls between a set of different lots that you have out there. So it breaks the area apart a little more. Or if you want to sell them all. And if so, how do you want to do it? So Horseshoe Lake is one situation. Another situation is behind the township hall here, where you have in the master plan for the parks, putting in a park development. Predominantly it would end up being some kind of elevated walkway through the wetland area. And for that, we're not recommending you sell any of the lots But there are some lots that are outside of the designated area that was in the plan. And our recommendation is that the board approve us bringing back to you a resolution that authorizes incorporating those lots into the designated park area. And to do that, I talked to the assessor, and he says there's other steps that have to be taken from his end. So he would prefer if you do that, it'd be by resolution of the board. At the same time, he gives you another resolution to take care of things from the assessing end of it. And then you have a few scattered lots. You've got 3 little ones farther north up towards the East Shore Drive. I think they have little value except to the adjacent property owners. So you could offer them to for bid or sale, or you could have me approach the adjacent property owners and see if anybody would be interested in buying them. They're not big enough to build a house or anything on. And then you have one property that you received a bid on last year, but it was about $250. It's for the one on Coyle Road, and that was way under what the assessed value was by the assessor. And that one I would recommend putting up for sale, having some kind of for sale sign installed on the property, have them contact here, and we could either do it by asking for the assessed value or setting a date where people could put in their bids any amount over that to see what would be the highest bidder. But I don't see any purpose for us keeping the lot, and it is a potential liability to the township.
Okay. So what are you proposing we do tonight, Mr. Aynes? Let's do step 1. What's the first thing?
The first thing is I would recommend that you hold off on selling any more lots in Horseshoe Lake.
Yep.
And have me get back to them and give them a time limit for getting back to the township. And that if they are not able to set up a corporation by a set date, then you'll proceed with trying to sell the properties. And that could be discussed at a later time too. The properties that are part of the park, as I said, the assessor is asking that you wait and have us come back with 2 different resolutions at the same meeting. And so tonight I'm just asking for permission to sell the Coyle Road parcel, either by setting a price or doing it on a bid basis, whichever the board prefers.
Okay.
Is that the one that's at the corner?
Yeah.
Yes.
Problematic. Okay.
Yeah. So these are the ones. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
So these properties are the 8 that are at the bottom of the spreadsheet. Is that what these are the ones you're talking about? There's the Coyle Road one, but there's several other ones too.
Yes, I believe those are the ones. There's about 3 other ones that are in the area there south of East Shore Drive that are small properties, and those I would recommend you have us contact the adjacent owners to see if they're interested in buying them.
Okay, that sounds good.
Is Coyle Road large enough to build on?
I don't think it's large enough by itself to build on. If an adjacent property owner acquired it, it might allow them to build on their existing property because they would have enough setback at that point from the property line.
What is it that we need to do, Madam Chair?
I don't know. This is kind of a wide-ranging document here. So we just, Steve, you just need approval to put the for sale sign on Coyle Road and then to approach the adjacent landowners to get rid of the little ones that are up in the Summer Homes area, right? North of the Summer Homes area?
Yes, it's just 4 lots altogether. 3 there and 1 at Coyle Road.
Okay.
So we're talking about the one on Grove Drive, Maple Grove Drive, and Coyle Road. We're going to put up for sale in Garfield Drive. Those three, excluding Coyle Road. Mr. Aynes, you are going to talk to the property owners to see if they would be interested in purchasing those properties, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Do we need a motion? Or
Yeah, why don't you make it?
Make a motion that our township manager, Mr. Aynes, contacts the adjacent property owners to, I'm not going to say the property ID number, but the property on Grove Drive, Maple Grove Drive, and Garfield Drive to see if they would be interested. Huh?
And Coyle Road.
I thought Coyle Road, we were going to actually put a for sale sign up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's my understanding. So it would be those three.
Okay. I'll support that. Do we have any more discussion on these? Oh, I have some more discussion. If and when we sell these, I think we should require that they combine the parcels into their own home, for instance. So if it's a next door neighbor and they buy this little thing in between, it just seems to me that it should be joined to their parcel as one. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it reduces paperwork, and then, well, they would get homestead on it anyway, probably.
Right. Well, I don't know if they would get, they will only get homestead if they combine it.
Right.
If it's contiguous, you do.
If it's contiguous.
Even if you don't combine it?
Yeah, okay.
We should ask their assessor, Miss Manley. Not
Yeah,
ours,
there
but
she
the assessor. Thank you. I thought you had to combine it.
Okay. But my concern there is that if they default on this little thing later,
Right.
you know, they've already sort of made it their own. So that's why I think the advantage would be to have them combine it.
So is that an amendment to the motion?
Sure.
I'll support it.
Okay. Do we have to vote separately on that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I'm amending the motion to say that purchasers would combine the parcel with their own homestead parcel. Okay. And so that's me with supporting that. Okay. All right, roll call, please.
Chockley.
Oh, it looks like Mr. Dockett has his hand up.
Oh, Mr. Dockett.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dockett. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, check with the lawyer, or at least the assessor. I don't think you can force people to combine their lots. So before we make a motion for that, I believe we should know, is the lawyer on the phone?
No, not anymore.
Is he at the meeting?
No.
I think it would be a request. I mean, I think we can force and we can request them too.
Right.
I don't believe you can do that. And so we're just voting on those. What? Just that? And what else? What? Can read to me?
We're voting
Read
on
the motion.
amendment. Yeah, we're voting on the amendment to require the purchaser to combine the parcels as feasible with their adjacent parcel. We'll say a pending attorney. Okay.
Seems complicated. Let's just make a request. If they don't want to, they don't have to. You're going to spend more money on the attorney determining if they could or not than the
I bet
parcel.
you're right. Okay, then I will withdraw my motion.
Okay, fine.
We're not going to require them to do it. Why say it?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion from Ms. Zelenock and support by me to go ahead and sell those properties as we designated. Okay, roll call, Ms. Manley.
Again, Chockley.
Yes.
Beliger.
Yes.
Dockett.
Yes.
Chick.
Yes.
Otto.
Yes.
Zelenock.
Yes.
Manley. Yes. So 7-0.
Okay, great. I'd like to make a motion to purchase this air conditioner.
No, we're not done yet, are we?
We're not done? Oh,
I think so. We make a motion that we put Coyle Road property up for sale, and I'll give you the number on that one.
oh, I thought it was included. Sorry.
B as in boy 02-18-120-008.
Support.
I put it at
Motion.
the, market value.
Do we have an estimate of the value of it?
It's on the paper.
Yeah.
1,400.
What's the value then? I'm sorry, I'll add that.
1,400.
1,400, is that the SEV?
At least, no, I think that's the market.
That's the market, I think.
So that's not a buildable lot.
Taxable value,
That's the
market value, estimated market
estimated
value.
market value.
1,400 is the estimated market value?
Yes.
So put it up for sale for 1,400 then.
If I could
Go ahead.
direct you to the second paragraph, it's 1,700 was the estimated amount.
And then
Coyle Road?
1,700. Sorry.
That's
I'm
not
sorry,
what
I
shows
missed it.
on
What
here.
page are we looking at? Mr. Aynes?
My cover memo.
Okay, thank you.
That's not what it says in the chart though, but. okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you go with the chart then, and
Well, we'll say at least, or we won't sell it unless we get at least that.
Right.
well,
At least
yeah,
what
I
was
think
it?
when you put it up for sale, what you're saying is the best offer or the offer that the board feels is in the best interest of the township, et cetera.
Right.
So I'm hoping that somebody will see the amount that it's offered at and say, well, I'll outbid somebody else and offer you a higher amount, and so forth. So we'll see.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Ms. Zelenock, you made the motion and I guess I seconded that one.
Yeah, it was 1,400, right?
Yeah.
Right. There you go.
Okay. I guess we're roll call now.
What was the motion?
Ms. Zelenock made a motion to offer the Coyle Road property for sale with a sign out there for a minimum of 1,400. Is that how you do it, Ms. Zelenock?
Yep, correct.
Okay.
On the Coyle Road?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, roll call now.
We're good? All right, Dockett,
Yes.
Zelenock,
Yes.
Check,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Beliger,
Yes.
Chockley,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
7-0.
Well, then I'll make a motion that we get the appropriate resolutions to incorporate the lots for the park behind the public safety building.
I'll support.
And those are the 3 lots like Lincoln, Sydney, Raymond Avenue, and Raymond. Oh, nope. I take
No, I thought they were forced.
Nope, they're forest, sorry. Yes, correct, the forest ones. It's confusing, there's a lot of property. My
Okay.
apologies, and it's getting late.
Yes.
But yeah, so the Forest Drive ones, that we get the necessary paperwork to incorporate that.
Okay. Yep. Who's the second?
Ma.
Second.
Let's check. Okay. Go ahead.
All
Roll
right,
call.
Check,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Chockley,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Zelenock,
Yes.
Dockett,
Yes.
Beliger.
Yes.
All right, 7-0.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, then I'd like to make a motion that we continue to work with Horseshoe Lake to get them to create the nonprofit so that we can transfer the Horseshoe Lake property to them.
Within 3 months.
I don't know.
I would say by the end of the year.
It's gonna, at least take a progress because nonprofits creating them can
They're hard.
take a little bit of time. I created one.
Well, is that legal though for the township to just give away property?
I think We can ask our attorney. I think we can do what we think is in the best interest of the township.
Yeah, because we could have established our own wetland preserve, but,
I want to work with Horseshoe Lake, so,
and I'm fine with that as long as it's legal.
right.
Well, the difference between us having it and Horseshoe Lake having it, if Horseshoe Lake has it, it belongs to their association
Right,
and their bylaws. With us having it, it's open to the public.
right.
I get it.
And so and maybe everybody knows this, the history of buying these properties were to protect the lake.
Yeah, it was.
It was the intent of the township was to protect the Horseshoe Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Because it obviously we know that it has huge flooding issues, and the purpose was to protect the lake, to protect the residents, and that was the intent.
Right.
And now that it's on there, I would like to give them the first avenue to do what the intent was of the township way back when we started buying these properties.
Okay. What about a deadline though? Because if we
I would like to do we can say we'd like to see where the progress is at the end of the year, because again, it can take 6 months to do a nonprofit.
Well, but after December 31st, we're paying taxes on them again.
I know that.
So hopefully they'll get it going.
Well, actually, you're paying taxes right on December 1st.
Yeah. Okay.
That's when the tax bills go out.
Okay.
So anyway.
All right. So we have this motion.
So what was my motion again?
To have the Horseshoe Lake establish this
nonprofit corporation.
Yes.
And we'd like the status report at the end of the year.
Okay. Who's your second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Zelenock, Otto. All right. Roll call, please.
Zelenock.
Yes.
Madam Supervisor.
Oops. Sorry, I didn't see
you. You have not been calling on me when I do star 9.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You haven't, and I don't appreciate you treating me the way you do.
I'm sorry, when I didn't see your hand up.
I did star 9 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
I would like to suggest that we definitely have a sunset on the Horseshoe Lake people. I believe these people should be able to buy these lots. I would vote for them to buy these lots tonight. That's the way I feel about them, because they've been screwing around with them for years, and so have we. Now we got somebody who wants to buy them, and we don't want to sell them to them. But at any rate, put a sunset on things, right? So that if they don't do it by a certain time, then we'll know that they're just not going to go through with it, just like they haven't so far. But anyway, I'd like to have a clause in there. So I'd like to have it read to me so I can understand what the motion is. Thank you.
Ms. Zelenock, would you please repeat your motion for him?
So the motion is that we work with the Horseshoe Lake Association, which I know it's not an association. Let's hear. We work with the Horseshoe Lake Association so we can transfer the properties to them. We would like a status report by the end of the year.
Okay.
How about we sell the lots if they haven't done anything?
Do we need
We
to
can
get
always make a
by the end of
decision
the year
at
to
that
show
point at the end of the year.
interest, show serious interest?
Right.
And we just do that, amend the motion to include with a sunset clause of with December 31st. Based,
because it is going to be a
contingent
different board by December 31st. So,
right. I just say we do a progress report at December 31st and let the other board members, if they want to sell it at that point, they can. So I'm happy with my motion as it stands.
Okay.
oh my.
All right. Call the question.
All right, we good?
Yep.
Otto,
Yes.
Beliger,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Check,
Yes.
Zelenock,
Yes.
Dockett,
No.
Chockley,
Yes.
6-1.
Okay. Thank you. All right. I'd like to make a motion.
What was the vote?
6-1.
Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to purchase the Aynes Carrier Performance Series air conditioning unit, Comfort 24 ACB3 for $4,595, which includes upgrading the thermostats on both of the air conditioning systems at the community center. Yeah, and that's who we got it from. Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll support.
Motion by Chockley, support by Check. Any discussion on this?
So I do.
Go ahead.
So the other air conditioning unit, who services that right now? I mean, who services our air conditioning units right now?
I don't know. Mr. Aynes?
I believe it's the airless ones. It's also a carrier system.
Okay.
So there are current, that's who we call when we have issues?
I couldn't swear to that, but I believe that's the case.
Okay. I actually thought it was Koch and White, but okay.
Okay.
Like I say, I could be wrong, but
Right.
and I have been in before, but you have a unique situation there, in that half the building is under one air conditioning system and half under another, and one of those is out, and I prefer to have the same type of unit on both sides for maintenance purposes. Plus, this thermostats are way out of date, and this way it will save us money by having them installed and having the thermostats controlled by our staff rather than anybody who happens to be in the building.
Okay.
And so don't we have a new, like, not a new company, but Quality Air? Did we contact them at all? Do they do air conditioning and stuff?
I don't know who all Tammy contacted.
Okay. I mean, they are, I that, right? And they are in our township. It would be good if we contacted them.
They are, yeah. Miss Otto?
So what was the reason for not going with the cheaper with Lennox? Is it because it wasn't a carrier unit?
Yes, it's a Lennox unit, so you have different parts and so forth.
Okay.
And my understanding is only a Lennox dealer will carry Lennox parts.
And it looks like the Aynes quote is an upgrade for their thermostats too, which isn't included in the other ones, I guess. So,
right.
All right. Ready to vote here? Mr. Dockett, go ahead. Mr. Dockett has a question. Mr. Dockett?
Yes. I talked to, I'm curious to know about having two air conditioners. Do they have two furnaces? I don't know, but I have the same problem that anybody else has. The Randazzo one is, $500 less. So, and if there's two over there, as soon as we buy this one, I'm sure within a few months, we're going to be buying another one. Because if this one's wore out, how it goes. I would have liked to have somebody analyze it and see about putting in one for the whole building. I think it's kind of silly to have two in there. And I tried to find out how come it happened that way. I talked to Doug Anderson, and I talked to the person who wrote the grant, and I didn't get anywhere. So anyway, I think that and when they give you the price, I talked to her. She said the other ones also said that they would give the thermostats. So that I could think kind of goes with it. But anyway, I think we could save $500. But so that's all I got to say about that.
Okay.
I do have so I did talk as well as with Doug Anderson on that. And he wasn't actually, he just started to take over the directorship when the building was being built, but his understanding was because it was going to be occupied by two different entities, that's why there were two different units put in. So the community center was occupying part of the building, and then Northfield Human Services were occupying the other half. So they split up the air conditioning, and I don't know, as Mr. Dockett said, the heating. So that was one of the reasons. I'm thinking they did the heating as well, if they did the air, but that was one of the reasons they did it. So,
Okay.
I mean, I actually just thought of my questions, unfortunately, just now about, what's our current carrier and did we talk to Quality Air? So
Okay.
I don't know where that came from.
Well, I'd personally like to move ahead with this because they've been without air conditioning for quite some time.
In the one unit, right? In the one area.
One unit, yeah.
The area that's not being used right now, correct?
I don't know which side it is.
It is the not the side where they do the mail or the main room or where Tammy's office is. It's the other side.
Okay.
If I could comment on that, if this had been a normal year when you were having seniors there all the time and so on, I would have done it as an emergency.
Right.
I just picked one and done it months ago. But I thought we had some time to go ahead and get bids this time. So I want it up and running before we decide at some point to open the building back up.
Okay. Ready to vote? Go ahead, Miss Manley. Call roll.
Mr. Dockett,
Yes.
Check,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Beliger,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Chockley,
Yes.
Zelenock.
No.
Okay, that passed
6-1.
6-1. Okay.
Was it past 6-1?
Yes.
I think
Thank you.
I would like, and again, I didn't think about my questions until tonight. My apologies, to see what our current person is that maintains it, and if we contacted Quality Air since they are a business in our community.
Yeah. We should have.
I don't know. I mean, again, 10 o'clock at night
Yeah.
after I read the packet many times. So
Yeah. All right. I'd like to make a motion.
I would mention she had talked to another company and they didn't show up, so
okay,
she was trying to get as many as she could.
Yeah.
Okay.
All three of them are 3.5 ton units. They're all exactly the same unit.
Yep.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to.
Clerk Manley has a question.
Oh, sorry.
Can we reevaluate where we're at and how late we're going to be?
Okay. We are.
Road closure.
Yeah, the road closure for the homecoming parade. I don't even know when the homecoming parade is. September 25th. So, I mean, that can't take long. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 2627.
Support.
Okay. Motion by Chockley, support by Beliger. Any discussion?
We should just clarify it's the road closure.
What are we voting on?
The resolution for the road closure for the high school homecoming parade.
What are we voting on?
Number 10.
Okay, the road closure. I don't see any number like you just said on it.
It's at the top on the second page.
On the second page. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Roll call, please.
Manley, yes. Chockley,
Yes.
Zelenock,
Yes.
Beliger,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Dockett,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes.
Okay, 7-0.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So now we need to decide what we're going to do with the rest of the agenda. I know Ms. Manley.
Appointments, I'd like to take them one at a time.
I would say let's just get through this because
Okay.
we have moved some of these agenda items
Yeah.
off time after
It'll
time.
be another
Okay.
45 minutes at least.
I
Okay.
I need to get off, so if someone else could take over roll call for me, that would be great.
Okay, I'll do it. Okay, I'd like to make a motion okay, I'm sure everyone read my memo on the DDA appointments. I'd like to make a motion to, well, first off, I'm going to pull off number 3, Matt Ritz.
Good.
Because he doesn't own the property in the township yet. So I'd like to postpone that one, but I'd like to make a motion to approve the appointment of Bridget Cassman. And,
Support.
okay, to a term expiring June 30th, 2024. And I have support by
Beliger.
Beliger. Do I have any discussion on this one? Okay, Ms. Otto?
I just wanted to know where her business was located at.
At 100 Barker Road, she has the restorative health. She next to the dog grooming place. What's
Used to be Addison's, but it's Allison's.
Aiden.
Allison's?
Aiden.
Allison's.
Yeah.
But it's changed, right? I can't. What's the new name?
Aiden's Dog by Design.
Aiden.
Oh, Aiden's.
Okay.
Okay. I might as well just make them all. I mean, I'm just pulling off number 3.
Now you got to do the terms though.
Yes, I have to do the terms. So I would like to do Bridget Cassman and Eric Patterson to terms expiring June 30th, 2024. And Eric Patterson is an owner of Terra Firma, and they're developing on Whitmore Lake Road. So if anyone has concerns about that or needs more information, I can provide that tonight. It's a $500,000 property currently, but it's being improved even. And he's a newcomer to the township. So let's see, motion by Chockley, support by Beliger. Any more discussion on those two? Okay, roll.
I have another question.
Okay.
Isn't her building owned by Barb?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but she
Isn't that
hasn't.
a conflict of interest to have them both on the DDA?
Who?
Bridget and Barb?
Oh, I wouldn't think so because it's an economic interest of her own business. So basically that's what, if you want to call it a business, but we only need a majority of the people on the DDA to be business owners or owning property in the DDA district. And all of these actually do, except for Matt Ritz yet. So anyway, Bridget Cassman and Eric Patterson. So any more questions about them? Okay, I'll call the roll then. Zelenock?
Yes.
Chockley, yes. Beliger?
Yes.
Otto?
Yes.
Chick?
Yes.
Dockett?
You're not answering my star 9. You're not answering my star 9.
Okay, Mr. Dockett, go ahead.
I want you to say that you did not answer me.
I didn't see it until you just started yelling.
Well, I did it 3 or 4 times.
You did.
What I want to say is there's 5 people on here. 4 of these people do not live in the township. And these people have a business that are renting spots and having a business. I'd like to have that known.
Okay, let me tell you about these people. Bridget Cassman.
Well, let me finish. So when you say that they have a business, that don't mean they pay taxes here, and they say they live here. They don't. They're not a resident, and they don't own property. And 4 out of 5, and Equinto is the only one that I can see on here that lives here and owns property here. So That's
Okay.
my spiel.
Bridget Cassman is a homeowner in Northfield Township, and she has her business at 100 Barker in the building that Barb Griffith owns.
Yeah, it's a rented building, yeah.
That's okay. It's an economic interest in the viability of the downtown district.
I just wanted to get my spiel in.
Okay, good. Eric Patterson owns Terra Firma on Whitmore Lake Road. We don't have any representation from that portion of the DDA district. And he's an actual landscape architect, and he's doing a lot of work for Metro Parks in the Toledo area. He's going to be really.
I'm going to vote for everybody. I'm going to vote for everybody that's on here. I appreciate them running, but I just want to point out the fact. I wish we had more people that lived in the township and had businesses in the township. That's what I wished.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I respect all these people that are going to do something beyond that. So I'm a yes vote on all of them.
Okay, thank you. All right. So right now we're voting on Bridget and Eric. All right. And you're the last vote, Mr. Dockett.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So that those two pass 6-0. Now I'd like to make a motion to appoint Ann Iaquinto to a term expiring June 30th, 2022. She's a business owner and resident. Okay, so motion by Chockley, support by Chick.
I have a question. Wasn't there a problem with an application for her interest or something? It lapsed or something?
No, hers expired at the end of June, and so she would serve until she's reappointed. And I am reappointing her. I'm only reappointing her to a 2-year term.
And this isn't anything unusual that we haven't done with any other board member.
Right. It happens. So anyway,
I have
that's
one
my
question,
motion.
Madam Chair.
Pardon?
So I thought existing board members, correct me if I'm incorrect, that they did not have to put in an application.
Well, that wasn't exactly clear from, I copied the text out of the board meeting where we actually dealt with the application. Things change over time for people. You know, they move, their phone number may change, they may get more education, they may, who knows?
Right.
So it's important for, I'm hoping we get into the redevelopment ready communities program, but I'm hoping.
I was just saying, I thought we made a motion basically that said people renewing would not have to put an application in. They just had to.
Okay. I did not find that in the minutes.
All right.
But,
Got it.
okay.
I was not sure, but okay. Good enough.
Well, maybe we should have a motion like that.
Can we just vote on this one and get this over with, please? Okay. Motion by Chockley, support by Chick to reappoint Ann Iaquinto to a term expiring June 30th, 2022. Dockett. What's your vote?
Whose turn?
We're voting on Ann Iaquinto.
You're up.
Dockett, yes.
Okay. Beliger.
No.
Otto.
Unmute.
Yes.
Chick.
Yes.
Zelenock.
Yes.
Chockley. Yes. Okay. Ann passes 5-1. Okay, and then I'd like to make a motion to appoint Doug Wilbur to a term ending June 30th, 2021.
Is he a resident?
He is not a resident, but he owns property in the DDA district. Okay, so motion by Chockley. Who did I get to support me?
I
So you
did.
can have anybody that actually owns property in the DDA district be a member?
It's an economic interest. Yes. Okay, so who was my second? Sorry. Zelenock. Okay. All right. Any more discussion on that one? Okay, calling roll. Chick,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Dockett,
Yes.
Beliger,
Yes.
Zelenock,
Yes.
Chockley, yes, okay.
Can I add something
Sure.
right here, since we're on the DDA issues and the issue of Miss Iaquinto's
Sure.
term came up. What came out of the last DDA meeting, I heard from 3 different people, got 3 different stories, and I'm finding out that I think that the DDA meetings either need to be recorded in some fashion, or that we need actual minutes. Not, I know taking notes, there's no minutes. So I would like to see something documenting this meeting, so that the board's informed about what's going on at the DDA, because most of the time we just hear from other people. I'd like to
Mute Mr. Dockett.
I muted him.
Okay.
Okay.
Make a motion that the DDA meetings are recorded in some fashion, either by audio, video, but at least we get minutes.
Well, I agree with you, Ms. Chick, and I think it should extend to our, all of our statutory boards, like, our Parks and Rec Board.
I agree.
That's, so it shouldn't just be the DDA. We should have a policy like that. And I agree, the minutes have been, I think there were many years of minutes just lost because of computer failures and things. So there have been issues. I agree with that. And we need to get that fixed. But,
Okay, so I can bring that motion to our next meeting if we're not.
Please.
Okay.
Please. Yeah. Okay, Ms. Otto?
And because it's just like the ZBA, the Planning Commission, the DDA, they're all commission boards.
Mm-hmm.
Have some type of formal record keeping.
Yes.
Are not commission boards. So while I do appreciate that, yes, we should have something in there that there's some record keeping and everything.
Mm-hmm.
The DDA should coincide in record keeping, just like we did with the Planning Commission and with.
Yes. Well, I agree. And the new laws make us report a lot of stuff on our website now, and we need to make sure that we get that upgraded. It's not up to date, and it should be. So now we've got Mr. Dockett has something to say. Go ahead, Mr. Dockett.
I'm afraid my phone is starting to beep and get weak. So if the signal goes off, I'm sorry about that. If I'm not going to hang up, but if the phone gives out, then I'll be off. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
But I think we should call the question.
We already did. We got all my things done. Okay. The next item on the agenda is number 12, to discuss the next steps regarding the wastewater treatment plant equalization basin. Mr. Aynes, this is for you.
Some of these people you didn't call her. We didn't vote on some of them.
We voted.
Oh yeah, one. We didn't vote on Matt.
Right. I withheld that one.
Which one?
Number 3.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Aynes, can you discuss the next steps?
Yes, just to remind you, the board had advertised for 45 days the intent to issue bonds. That happened to be during the time that the COVID hit and we were closed. So you re-advertised it. The second time you did, the 45 days was up in August 5th. And that was the deadline for if anybody wanted to submit a petition to put it on the ballot. There was no petition submitted. And so that's passed. All the permits have been approved by the state and Green Oak and so forth. And the next step would be to authorize Tetra Tech to go out for bid. If you're going to pursue this, the timing is such that you would want it to go out for bid. You would want to, at some point, give notice about the special meeting. Well, it'd be at a regular meeting, but it would be on the agenda. where you would send the postcards out to the different property owners. And then you would give the not to exceed figure that was in the notice in those postcards, but then you'd have the actual bid back in time for the meeting. And at that meeting, then the board would decide whether you wanted to proceed. So this is just another one of those steps that we had outlined before, that if you authorize us to go ahead now, then we go out for bid. If you table it or say no to it, then that would halt the action for now. This timetable would get it, if you followed every step, would get it through the process before the current office board members were out of office. But the other thing that's probably even more crucial is it would allow the contractor to order his materials over the winter and get them delivered and have the construction start in the spring. If the project's put off till, say, winter for discussion and bid, then it would extend that further, and eventually you might be into another building season. I'm told that normally the bids are only for 90 days that they're good for. And the reason for that is the contractors are reluctant with all the changes in the supplies and the materials and the manpower and so forth to go anywhere beyond 90 days and holding the prices firm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I would like to make a motion to authorize Tetra Tech to go out to bid for construction of the wastewater treatment plant equalization basin as soon as is practical.
I'll support.
Motion by Chockley, support by Chick. Do we have more discussion on this?
I mean, well, one thing would be, it would be good that when we're going to go out for bid for millions of dollars, that it be at the top of the agenda, not at the bottom. We're making decisions. I mean,
wait. Yeah,
I think we need to be, when we're spending money, I think that should go at the top, not at the bottom, especially this. And as people know, as I'm opposed to doing it on a general bond, I think it should be done on revenue. So I'll just make that known.
Okay. Ms. Otto.
I think we do also need to have dates in here of when things need to get done. So we know specifically when the cards need to be drafted, that we have to have it done by a certain date, gone out by a certain date, and that we have to have a public hearing by a certain date. All this should be lined out. It's nice to have this chronology of what things need to be done or laundry list, but I need to have align with everything.
Well, let's fill in the dates then. Okay. Yeah, why not?
Well, can we get through the vote and then we can?
Yes, absolutely.
And then maybe we can have it at our next meeting since what, 10, 6,
Yeah,
15?
let's have it at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Through the vote.
Okay. Ms. Beliger.
So I understand this is simply to get the bid. It's not the approval of the basin, but it is to come back with some dollar amounts.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll question when you're ready.
All right. I better unmute Mr. Dockett. Okay. All right. I'm calling the roll. Okay. Ms. Chick.
Yes.
Ms. Beliger.
Yes.
Chockley. Yes. Zelenock.
No.
Okay. And Mr. Dockett.
No.
Okay. And Ms. Otto. Ms. Otto?
Sorry, I had an interruption. Yes.
Okay, thank you. 4-2. Okay, we will go out to bid. All right, and we'll come back with a projected.
What's the vote?
4-2. We're going out to bid. Okay, so we'll come back at the next meeting with actual dates on when we're going to be able to deal with this. Okay?
And I would appreciate that.
You have a nice timeline, not a bunch of words.
Right.
No, I don't want time. I don't want words. I want timelines.
Right.
Thank you.
But if I could just say, the reason for not having timelines is as soon as you tell us go ahead and we can get it in the paper, we can give you a timeline going forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, any more on this? Nope. Ethics policy. Ms. Otto.
Yep. So what this is it was an ethics policy that the board that we discussed back in March of 2019, putting together a Northfield Township Board ethics policy. We had drafted the policy to the board on May 2019. We've had discussions on this, and we also had input from Lenore and from Tawn. And what I did is I went through, took their information and did a red line version of the ethics policy. So the only thing that I'm asking for tonight is I'm proposing that the board accept the draft changes to the ethics policy, have the attorney review the policy, and provide any changes that he feels deemed necessary, and then bring it back to the board for final approval.
So is that a motion, Ms. Otto?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
I'll support. Okay, Otto and Check. Okay. Because I did notice a couple other things that were like empty or needed a little clarification, but otherwise, I think it's a great policy, and it would have been good if we had done this a couple years ago.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyway, okay. Any more comments on it before we move it to the attorney?
Well, good job, guys.
Call vote.
Okay. All right.
Vote.
Chockley, yes. Oops, I better unmute Wayne. Okay.
Does he have any comments?
You have any comments, Mr. Dockett?
What about it? What?
On the ethics policy? Okay. Not seeing it, hearing. Okay, Chockley was yes. Otto?
Yes.
Chick?
Yes.
Zelenock?
Yes.
Beliger?
Yes.
Dockett?
No.
Okay.
This was to move it to the attorney, correct?
Yes, it's going to
Right.
the attorney now.
It's not for board approval at this point.
Yep.
Not for board approval at this point.
Yep. We'll see it back. Okay, thank you for the work. All right, I'd like to make
What was the vote?
5-1.
Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to accept the trustee liaison reports as distributed, and I will note that mine is not in there, so that's good enough for me. All right. Any of them need pulled out for any reason? Okay. Oh, Ms. Otto.
I just had a quick update on the ZBA report. Meeting is not going, we're not going to have an August meeting. We will have a September meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. So did I get a second for my motion to accept the
Support.
reports? Okay.
I think I gave you a muted second.
Okay, maybe I didn't hear it. All right. All right, roll call. Mr. Dockett,
What are we voting on?
the liaison reports.
Yes. Okay. We're passing the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Chick.
Yes.
Otto. Ms. Otto.
Unmute.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Zelenock. Ms. Zelenock. Okay, Ms. Beliger
Yes.
and Chockley. Okay, yes. All right, 6-0. Thank you very much. All right, announcements. Does anyone have an announcement? Not yet. Okay, moving on, second call to the public. Now we have an opportunity for members of the public who are here and would like to speak to the board at this time. Please raise your hand. And you have 3 minutes. State your name and your address. And share your thoughts. Mr. Steve Grano, I've got you on. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you so much. First with Steve Grono. I'm the owner of Chestnut Home Builders located in Brighton, Michigan. And I just wanted to commend you. I've been sitting here for a couple hours enjoying your meeting, and I want to tell you, you're the most dedicated board I have seen in a long, long time. It's very late, and everyone is really doing an awesome job. So I will be before you in the coming months with an application for rezoning of a portion of the Leland Farm, Whitmore Lake and North Territorial, the 90-acre corner, hard corner. Mr. Aynes and I have been corresponding for about a year now. We've been researching the property, and finally, after a year of negotiating with the family trust, have it under contract with a 9-month due diligence period in order to get the property rezoned and approved for our project. I want to just give you a quick heads up on it before you actually see it on the agenda. We have a long way to go before we actually can make a project out of it. We are testing the water as we speak. We have a drill rig out there to find out if we can put a type 1 water system in. If that's successful, we'll have a site plan created by our engineer, and then we will present it to the board. We're looking to do about 210 luxury apartments, ranch apartments, barrier-free for basically seniors. We're looking to do about 75 affordable homes, assisted living facility, and a small bit of commercial on the hard corner. Well, that's just a little summary overview of the project. I'd invite you to research my company. None of you guys know me. I'm just a local small builder from Livingston County, and this is my first experience in Washtenaw County, my first experience in Northfield Township. I hope I can make a good impression on you folks, and I would just invite you to research Chestnut Home Builders and Steve Grono on the internet just to see who I am and kind of what I'm all about. Been here a long time and hope to be here a while longer, and I hope you'll like what I propose, and I'm looking forward to working with you to see if it's something you'd like to have in your community. I can assure you I will not fight. I won't sue anybody. I won't go down any legal paths if my project isn't thought of highly there or isn't welcome there. I will simply withdraw my application and my purchase agreement with the Leland family and just ride off into the sunset. So that's just a little brief overview. I know it's late and I don't want to belabor it, but I just wanted to introduce myself so you guys could see me and do a little homework on me before I actually get before you in the coming months. So thanks so much for indulging me tonight.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have any other people who would like to speak tonight? Any other hands up in the attendee list? Oh, here we go, Mr. Olney. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm Olney, 9315 Lakewood Court.
Okay.
On my first call to the public, I spoke about a lawsuit on the manager's report. Nothing on it, so I guess I'll just be a little more direct. I was wondering if you can, I know it's, a lawsuit, can't say much on it. I was wondering if the manager could say how much they're seeking and how much the township has already spent. I know our township attorney, Mr. Fink, isn't the one defending it. It's another lawyer, but see where we're at. Also, any meeting right now that's using Zoom should just be recorded. Like the DDA is on Zoom, you hit record. It's so simple. It's not like no additional cost needed. Hit record. It's absurd that hasn't been taking place now that we're on Zoom. And then Ms. Chockley with the DDA appointments, like you're just packing that thing up right before you leave office. It's been at a certain amount, and then you're like, oh, look, I can put all these people on here. So it's just, obviously you have the power to do it and you're doing it. That's fine. But I also caution you when you say I'm pulling Matt Ritz because he's not a property owner yet. He's going before the planning commission. He's going before hopefully he plans to go before the board. And when you say things like he's not a property owner yet, he's already said if he doesn't get a marijuana license, they don't have plans for the building. So, I don't think you're playing favorites, but some could take it like that. So I just think you need to be really careful on your communications with people who are going to be going in front of the planning commission and going in front of the board for permits or licenses. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Anyone else like to speak at this time? Okay, I'm not seeing anybody. All right. Board member comments. Do we have anyone who'd like to speak? Ms. Beliger.
Yeah, I want to thank Mr. Gronow, Steve Gronow, for chiming in at the meeting. I am very happy to hear about what he has to offer. I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings to the board, and hopefully we can work something out. That'd be fantastic. Once again, thank you candidates for running for office, and congrats to those that made it through. And I wish everyone a blessed night. Oh, one last thing. I do want to mention that Scott has done quite a bit with that perimeter trail, and he's been quite an asset to the community and helped to Parks and Rec at time. And I think it's wonderful that he's taken this on and helping with that. Thank you, and have a blessed night.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other board members like to speak? Ms. Check?
You're muted.
I just unmuted. I'm trying to unmute you.
Got it. I got
Okay.
it. Got it?
Mhm.
Yep. I want to thank Marta Larson for hosting the candidate forum. It was done very well, very respectful. The candidates that showed up for the meeting were very articulate and all showed their dedication to the township. So I appreciate her efforts in doing that. And my understanding is she's looking to do another one before the general election as well. I also wanted to thank all the voters that came out to vote, regardless of how they voted. It was a 40% almost turnout, which is excellent for a primary in Northfield Township, and the volunteers that worked on the election as well. And I also wanted to thank Jennifer Carlisle and all of the volunteers for all that they've been doing for the Kaboom grant and the play path. It looks amazing. You're doing an excellent job. And it's a lot of work. And I think about them out there in that heat. God bless you, because that was, I know Jackie's been there, and Lenore and Tawn's been out there. So, and thank you for doing that. Also, I would like to ask the manager to please look into the cost of tearing down that nasty looking sign on the lot north of the community center. It is an eyesore, and it really needs to come down, especially since we're putting in a nice parking lot there, and we want to make that corner look really nice. One more thing, and I think actually Lenore might be able to speak to it better than I can. I know Ms. Prinskett spoke to communications. She had asked for something for the board to consider from the Land Preservation Committee, which we had not addressed yet. And I think it was a simple request, and I think Lenore can probably explain better what it was exactly. So thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else?
Sure, I might as well. Yes, so what
Sure.
we would like to do with the social media, and Ms. Prishnett is being our secretary, we would like to have a Facebook page to announce what, our meetings and communicate to members of the public, because that seems to be an effective and a way that people are now using, which has changed over time. In addition to that, we have some changes to the website we'd like to do, to the LPC, the land, and we'd be willing to do them. We know Ms. Carlisle is very busy, so we would like to just make the updates. They're Word updates, like we want our new mission statement out there, and just put like the newsletter out there, the article that we wrote and stuff like that, so that we want to keep things up to date. And that's what we're asking. And I think Ms. Chick, you said we could put it on make it an agenda item. Mm-hmm. So we'd just like to keep things up to date and fluid as things are moving. And we have the person, Ms. Prishnett, that is willing to do like the Facebook. I'm willing to update the website to make sure it's up to date, at least from the LPC perspective. Mm-hmm. So that's what we'd like to do.
Great.
And then as far as the play path, I want to thank everybody. It's fun and hot and lots of work, but lots of reward. Nothing like painting because you get immediate results. I like the painting part. I'm not sure about all these hole digging stuff. So we do need help with Miss Carlisle. I don't know if she did put it on Facebook yet, Miss Chick. You had mentioned something like that.
No.
Seems like there's going to be some heavy work that needs to be done to put in the musical instruments. So hole digging or digging for holes, and as far as the bench. So calling all the community members that have heavy hands, and more hands, the easier the work is. So, and yes, thank Miss Otto and Miss Beliger for volunteering. It has been a lot of fun. It's seeing results. It looks really cool. And again, thanks to all the voters. I think actually Miss Chick, it was 49% that came out. So again, thank everybody that voted. It's good to see the participation. Thanks to all the candidates that ran. So that's all I think I have. And yes, Scott Stewart has been, like I said, the passion for the perimeter path, which is great to see. And it's fun. I think, I even saw Peaberry make like a little advertisement, come, have a coffee, a latte, and then take a little walk. So I think that's great. And looking forward to seeing more about the development from Mr. Grandau, or I might say that incorrect, but thank you for coming to our meeting and holding out with us this late. Thank you.
Okay. Miss Otto, did you have anything?
Yes, I did want to thank everybody again, the voters for coming out. I also wanted to thank the poll workers, and I also wanted to thank Steve Gronow for introducing himself and for coming out and staying with us tonight. I also wanted to extend a thank you to Marta Larson for putting together Meet the Candidate Night. I know that she's planning to do that again for the November election. There is something that Marta also sent to us, that this was a U of M group that helps with design, that helps with visioning, that type of thing. It's the Taubman design, and they take on projects. And so this is something that I asked Steve to put in an application for, so we can get some additional information from them. They were looking to put anything in for the summer, but they are looking at for the fall. So this is something that we could probably utilize them for putting together for something for our park and helping with the Parks and Rec. In regards to the play path, it has been fun. It has been hard work. It's great to see. I can't tell you how awesome Jennifer is pulling this all together, and also pulling some of the designs together. There is going to be a ribbon cutting on August 30th, but before that, we have a lot of work that needs to be done, like Lenore said. And if you have any DIY experience, or you are in construction, please sign up, because we need some help to get some of this stuff done.
Great. Okay, thank you. Mr. Dockett, do you have any?
No, I have nothing.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. All right, and I would just like to wish everyone a very safe and wonderful couple of weeks, and we'll see you in, I think, 2 weeks from now. Stay safe. Don't get COVID. All right. God bless you all. Good night.
God bless you too. Good night.
Okay. Adjourning meeting.
Support.
Oh, okay. Motion by Chockley, support by Zelenock. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.